Okay, we are live. Welcome to everybody to the Entrepreneurial Empowerment event. My name's Grant Stain. I'm the CEO here at Blam, and every now and again we do a webinar stroke presentation for entrepreneurs around the globe. Now, the Blam Partnership Program is my business that I started 8 years ago now to help people set up their own digital marketing agency. So around the globe, we've got over 150 partners that speak to small businesses every day of the week, helping them with their digital marketing. So as a result of that, our entire network is full of entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneurial world is what we specialize in, and we help them specifically with their digital marketing. But as we all know, most of you in the room here and watching online, the entrepreneurial journey is a lot more than just digital marketing. And so we help our partners with their entrepreneurial journey. We help our partners' customers with the entrepreneurial journey. And that's why we run these kind of events. So what's this event going to be all about? Let's get started. My clicker works. So first and foremost, who is the event for? Blam partners. So the reason we started doing these events was for our Blam partners. Now, our Blam partners, as I said, are digital marketing consultants. And first and foremost, if you're watching this, you could well be a Blam partner or have been invited by a Blam partner. Business owners. If you're in business, you are an entrepreneur. Today's event is for you to help inspire, motivate you, and help you get through some of the challenges that you face on that journey. Budding entrepreneurs. We get lots of people that come into our universe that are looking to start a business for the first time, a lot of startups. So being that on that journey is what we love to help you with, help you understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur and how you can get through that journey. So what you're going to need to get yourself through this event today. A pen and paper. Now that might sound a bit old school, but for anybody who's in the room here, on the right hand side, if you haven't got a pen and paper, please grab one of the pads, one of the pens, because physically writing stuff down that you learn will help it stick in your brain more so than if you're typing. So we're big advocates for going old school entrepreneur style. You're also going to need to have an open mind. Some of the things that you're going to be learning about today might not sound obvious to you. They might not be the kind of thing that you would expect to hear at an event like this. So have an open mind, because the experts you're going to be hearing from know what they're talking about. And let's have a willingness to learn. My sincere hope is by the end of today, you will have learned something that you didn't know at the beginning of the day, and you're going to be able to employ that on your entrepreneurial journey. We can learn from others. We never stop learning. And I find these kind of events, even if it's something that you may have heard before, but then forgotten about, or just don't employ it in your daily routine. So have that willingness to learn. And then let's pay attention. There could be just one little nugget of information that you take away from today's event that could literally change your life. I've had that happen myself when I've been to events. You get bombarded with loads of information, but there's going to be one little nugget in this event that can absolutely change your life, the way you do things. So pay full attention. Okay, so today's to-dos. Anybody who've heard me speak before, you know I'm a bit of a stickler for to-dos. I like a good to-do list. So today, make notes, make use of your notes, write down the things that really resonate with you, and make sure that you've got them written down. Participate. So David is well known for his, when he gives his talks, audience participation. If you're online, write in the chat. If you're here in the group, feel free to interact. Let's get the participation going. And then we can learn from others, and then we can have a bit of fun as well. We like to have a bit of fun. We don't like to be too serious about what we do. And then finally, pick at least one thing and implement it. As I said earlier, you're going to get bombarded with lots of information today, and sometimes that can be a bit overwhelming. My advice is when you come to events like this, make sure you pick at least one thing and then implement, because you can learn all you like. If you don't take action, it's worthless. So implementation is key, and do it ASAP. Now, I remember, I'll do a quick story. I remember the last event that we did. We did a lot of learning, and right at the end of the event, I said to the people in the room, and it was on a Friday afternoon, just like we are now, I said, you now need to go and take action immediately. And that was actually, there was a whole section on sales and cold calling. And that is what happened for one of our partners who took action immediately, as in started making calls to New York because of the time zone. So this is a digital marketing consultant who started making calls to New York. By the end of that weekend, she'd made sales. She'd actually got business in because she'd applied it immediately. Most of the people were going, yeah, I'm going to apply that. Yeah, I'll start on Monday. She started immediately. So take action as soon as possible. Absolutely imperative, because the memory fades very quickly after an event like this, guys. So take action quickly. Okay, the not to do's. Don't forget what you've heard. And if you let the weekend get in the way of this event, you could go away from this event feeling all motivated, skipping out the door. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. By Monday, you look at your email inbox, it can be all forgotten. So that's why we've got to write stuff down, we've got to review it, we've got to make sure we take action. So don't, oh, missed that one, where's it gone? Don't say you'll do it next week. And that really it was reiterated with a little story that I just told. Make sure you take action this week. It's Friday today, there's still time. The week is not over. Okay. So let's talk through the agenda today. So for people in the room, we'll have a little agenda. You'll see what's going through. For those of you online, let's show you what you're going to be seeing. And hi, by the way, if you're watching this on the recording, where were you? Where were you? So today's agenda, we have got Mr. David Rahman, the mind coach. Absolute legend, one of my very closest friends. He is such an inspiring coach. The mind coach is all about helping you master this. And when you're in business, guys, mindset is probably the most important thing. If you haven't got the right mindset, then you're pretty much scuppered. You can't get the job done. Being an entrepreneur can be tough. And the thing I love about the way David delivers his content is it helps you sort this out. So I'm really looking forward to that. He's got a fantastic presentation for you. He's actually got two presentations. The first one will be fascinating, trust me. Then we're having a round table, and we've got Sophia Giorgio sat at the front here. Now, for those of you who don't know, Sophia Giorgio is the CEO of the #1 Club International. She's actually my business partner as well. She actually has got a new show that she's hosting called the Ask Sophia Show. Got over 13 million listeners straight through New York. Absolutely fascinating. She's going to be helping us with the Entrepreneurial Roundtable, giving her opinion and helping with us to decide and ask questions about all the different subjects that are going to be coming up in today's event. Mark Linton. Now, Mark Linton, sat in the back. Hey, Mark. Another great friend of mine, known Mark for many years, runs the Business Growth Network. A fascinating entrepreneur is going to be here to give his insights. The Business Growth Network, for if you don't know, any entrepreneurs out there, look it up, because networking is such a great way of doing business. And he runs some fantastic events, socializing, as well as doing business, coffee mornings. And this Entrepreneurial Roundtable, I got the idea from one of your events, actually, Mark. And I went to one of his events, and he did this round table. And I just thought it worked really well. I thought, I want to do that. So I thought I'd get him to do it. And then we've got Mr. Matthew Wildman, a Blam partner, managing director. We'll see. Oh, you're not the CEO anymore, are you? He's just the sales guy now. So it's a bit of an inside joke there. His wife has just joined him in the business. She's now the CEO. So Matt runs Up to Speed, which is a Blam partner, digital marketing consultancy. And Matt's been with Blam for many years now. And He's an absolute diamond of a guy. He's a proper grafter. His work ethic is second to none. So hearing his opinion on the things that we bring up on the round table is something I'm really looking forward to. And then last but not least, we've got Mr. Theodore Hoffman. Now, for any of you that watched the event that we did last time, I did a fantastic interview with Theo. And if you look at the, do we call it business boot camp, I think we called it, it was such a fantastic interview. This guy is such a grafter, and he's just set up a business a year ago that he's going great guns, and he's a multiple business owner in the past. So hearing his opinion, so we've got 4 fantastic contributors to the round table. I really can't wait to see them give their opinions on the things that we put forward to discuss. It's going to be a really exciting one. And then finally, the finale, after we've seen, David will give another talk, and then we're going to do an interview with Mr. Greg Lassiter. Now, Greg Lassiter, he's a member of Sophia and I's the number 1 club, and he's one of these entrepreneurs that is just into so many things. He's got something like 20 different businesses, and some of them are huge businesses. He's one of those guys that never sleeps, and he's just the absolute epitome of what an entrepreneur is all about. He's based over in New York, and his core business is Grex Jet Corporation. So he's a private jet. So he basically ferries around lots of rich people from New York to all different parts of America and Europe. And on top of that, he's got all sorts of other businesses. He's a proper serial entrepreneur. I'm proud to say that Sophia and I have actually got a business that we've set up with him as well that we can talk about at the very end. But I really can't wait for this interview, because we're really going to dig under the bonnet about what makes him tick and how he's become such a prolific entrepreneur. And he's been a filmmaker, an actor, a pilot, he's a lawyer, a radio producer, he's a concert violinist. He's basically Superman. So it's going to be really, really cool. And he's such a nice guy as well. So really looking forward to that one. Okay, so without further ado, it is time to introduce my very good friend and mind coach. You're going to love this presentation. It's going to be interactive. I'm going to be his glamorous assistant if you need me for anything, David. But let me introduce Mr. David Rahman.
Happy Friday. It's ridiculous, right? Yeah, so I wanted to talk to you about.
That's the one. Oh, it's going to take a while, this. They're all very good looking, so just keep clicking. That's it, just keep going and it'll come through. It wouldn't be a live event if we didn't have the odd little tech issue.
That's great.
There we go. Right. Next one should be you. Boom!
Good job, I'm not a perfectionist. Yeah. Right. So I wanted to talk to you in my first section about something called imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome it's not a mental health condition. It's actually a psychological phenomenon. And I just want to talk to you in this first segment about it, because a lot of people actually have experienced imposter syndrome, and it does affect you in everyday life. So it affects you in your business, in your career, plus in your relationship. So if I could highlight certain things about it, and if you recognize anything in it, it might help you actually moving forward in your business. And it could be one of the reasons why perhaps you want to go to another level, and you're thinking, why am I not going to the next level? So it could help you. So in 2021, HR News, Human Resources News published results of a survey with a quiz over 1,000 professionals. And this is only a couple of years ago, and found out that 85% of respondents had feelings of imposter syndrome. I'll describe to you what the feelings are in a second. So that's sort of was picked up by these companies and businesses and people in business to, right, okay, I'm feeling those feelings, what am I going to do about it? So the traits, it's quite simple, the traits. Worrying what others think. So only to think, is this yourself? The whole point of an afternoon like this is to examine the truth. Because obviously we're all in business, we're also all human beings. And people buy people. Someone told me that years ago, David, people buy people. When they come to see you, say if you own a restaurant and someone else owns a similar restaurant, people actually buy people. So they buy the service of the person, not just the product. So worrying what others think, doubting ourselves, feeling like a fraud, and scared of people finding out. And this is something that can leave you, feeling. So it can leave you feeling with these particular symptoms: stress, anxiety, low moods, and depression. So when we work with people with those conditions, often it can be traced back to something that they're feeling and those traits we just talked about. So I'm just going to show you the 5 types of imposter that psychologists have come up with and see, do you recognize yourself in any of these? You don't have to say anything to anyone, but just think, is that me? And it's about looking inside and discovering, is that something? So the first one is perfectionists. So perfectionists put pressure on themselves, believing that they can always do better. They focus on the flaws and mistakes and are constantly striving frequently to lead to a high. So there's a reason for perfectionism. And if you're a perfectionist out there, just recognize it. That you could be putting pressure on yourself. And constantly striving frequently leads to this high itself. So it's a psychological feeling, and it's often related to feelings of anxiety, stress, feelings of not good enough, or things will never be good enough. So it leads to this, if you think of an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg is perfectionism. So that's the first one. The second one is soloist. And what's the soloist? So the soloists tend to feel that they can achieve everything by themselves without the need to delegate. They tend to view the help of others as a sign of weakness and mental strength, so they prefer to work alone. So do you prefer to work alone? Are you always finding yourself working alone, not delegating, not accepting help? There's a lot of entrepreneurs like this, and it can be a very lonely existence. And I remember speaking to someone last year, they said they were so lonely as an entrepreneur, this wasn't helping them. And when they discovered that they were the soloist, and they started to interact online, so it can be online, in person, join groups, their business started to expand because they started to expand. So expansion starts from within. If you can just remember, expansion, when your inner world changes, your outer world changes. And I'm so grateful that Ron put up all these pointers earlier on, that for a session like this, keep an open mind, because your business is you. So it has to start with you. It's not your office or your car or your house where you live, it's actually, or your bank account, it's actually you. So you can elevate your business by first elevating yourself. I've seen so many people, once they transform themselves, and it's not a cliche, something changes. And that what changes is their behavior. So this, instead of hiding under the covers every morning, they get out of bed, they start looking after themselves, they start exercising, they start meditating, they start talking to clients, they pick up the phone rather than hide from the world. So the soloist can be a very lonely existence. The superwoman, Superman. So who are these? So the superhero tends to have all things, to try to be all things to all people. They have everything they need to succeed, but would constantly push themselves. So it might be a busy mum who's running the house, but she's got the business, she's got the employees. They will push themselves from self-doubt to overachievement because it must be making them feel good. Because life is about feeling good. So we do things that make us feel good. These are the people who are often exhausted through overwork, will juggle a myriad of tasks at a time, always want to be a model or exemplar for their career. So there could be a superwoman in this room, or a superman, who's always doing more than their share. The natural genius. So what's the natural genius? So the natural genius, this type sets the highest goals for themselves and believes that as fast learners, they should excel at everything. So they believe they should excel at everything. And where did that start? Where do you think that started? Any idea? School. Just that simple. School. Everything starts from 0 to 7. That's when we start picking up behaviours and habits. And who do we pick them up from? Mum and Dad. And 7 to 14, our peers, teachers, they sort of can influence us. And 14 onwards, we've got this sort of model of reality then. And if you think you're the natural genius, you may have had early success and believe you were born talented and gifted. So I know people like that who actually, something I know really well is like this, and actually it was to his detriment. He actually doesn't do any work because he feels that he was born naturally gifted and everything should come to him. Do you know anybody who is very smart, but unfortunately not doing brilliant in life because they feel it should come to them rather than them change their inner world and bring it to them? And the fifth one, finally, is the expert. So the expert, they're always on the lookout for more knowledge. They're always looking for more knowledge, always reading new books, watching videos, often guilty of doubting whether they know enough. They might come to an event like this and think, this is great, or I've heard this before. But if you ask them to describe what have they heard before, they can't tell you. I always think that you learn twice. Once when you come to an event like this, and once when you tell someone else. So I believe you can teach someone something, you know it. But we all say those two words at some time in our life, or those three words. Somebody's telling you something, and you're saying something like, I know that. But you don't. Because if they ask you can you explain that principle or that law, you can't remember it. So somebody might say Pareto's law, the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 principle. So a youngster might ask you to explain that, but you can't explain it. You know of it. So the experts, they will underestimate the actual expertise, therefore may not take every opportunity to further the career as they worry they lack the necessary qualifications. They're always looking. So Grant was saying earlier on that you need to, write stuff down. And the reason you need to write stuff down is there's evidence to suggest when you write stuff down, there's an area of the brain called Broca's area. This sort of lights up. And this lights up. It doesn't light up when you're on a keyboard. So when you're on the keyboard, if you notice when you're on a keyboard, you're just scanning the lines. But have you seen when somebody's writing something? Where do they look? In between pauses. Where do they usually look? So somebody's writing, they're thinking, writing, so they're always looking away and they're looking back. But when you're looking at the screen, you're generally just looking at the screen. So there's a part of your brain which lights up. And that part of your brain, for most people, hasn't really fired up since they were kids. Because these days we don't really write, we tend to type. So that's why we were saying that writing is good. Because when you're writing, you've heard something and then you're just reinforcing it. As Tony Robbins says, repetition is the mother of all skill. It's just repeat. The process is called neuroplasticity, which I'll talk more about later. So I want you to think about, I just talked about 5 types. Okay? 5 types of imposter. But it doesn't mean you're an imposter. It means that sometimes you might doubt yourself. You might not back yourself. That's one of the things that, on the way here today, I was thinking, what is it imposter syndrome? It's because you don't back yourself enough. You've got this beautiful Imagine a beautiful sports car, you keep messing the engine up. Keep messing the engine up because you're doubting yourself. What I wanted to do is, if you can pair up, can you put your pens down? And if you could pair up with somebody you don't know. Yeah. And if you could start just for 2 minutes, just if you can be vulnerable with that person, say, well, where do you doubt yourself in your life? It's okay. No. Just keep it between yourselves. If you can say, where do you actually doubt yourself in your life? Because we're human beings, and no one is bulletproof, least of all me. So if you can just pair up with someone for 2 minutes and just...
I'm free.
And the same with everyone online, if you've got somebody there. Right.
Yeah.
So the more open you are and transparent you are, the better. The better, especially with yourself. And then the more open I became over the years, the better. You learn to let go of negative emotions. The more that you feel you need to hide stuff or hold stuff in, it's heavy. If you imagine that you're carrying a rucksack, in that rucksack you fill up with stones, how's that rucksack going to feel when it's full? Yeah? Is it going to make you feel good, or is it going to make you feel weighed down? Weighed down. So imagine one of the stones is resentment. Something else is I'm not good enough. Something else is I'm an overthinker. Another one is I'm over comparing my life to others. So each one of these weighs you down. So there's something that I thought about over the years, and I met lots of people who, on the outside, if you look at that slide, that person said, I'm coping. But under the surface, that's the personality. Under the surface, I'm not coping. And it takes energy to actually push out, to pretend to be something you're not. Okay, so it's not about, imposter syndrome is not about authenticity. Being your authentic self is being more open, more honest with yourself. And then when you look at yourself and then understand that I'm doubting myself, that's a part of you. Or I'm feeling like a fake, or I'm feeling not good enough. When you examine this and you take it away, you feel lighter. Putting that rucksack down, it just makes you feel lighter. You're letting go of stuff. And another analogy I used to use was, we're in the middle of summer now, but in the middle of winter. Imagine you've got the duffel coats, but imagine wearing 10 duffel coats. It gets hot in there. Plus, it weighs you down. And each one of those duffel coats is just like something you want to take off. Because it's just going to make you feel better. It's going to make you feel more you, more real. A few months ago, I was on the ground, and I was just asking myself one of these questions last year. And it was, what's the point of life? What's the point of being in business? I was thinking, what is the point? Is it to make the most money in the world, or to visit most countries, or to have the best wife? What is it? What is the point of life? And for me, the three things that came up, it just came up, I was driving, was feeling good, doing things that make you happy, right? So do things that make you happy, not what you think your mum's going to be happy about, or your partner. Do things that actually make you happy. Number two, be grateful for those things, because gratitude is like a superpower. All gratitude is, it's not a woo-woo thing, it's actually paying attention to what's good in your life. And we forget to do that. And I'll be going through a part of gratitude later on to show you how to do it. Do it so you can do it every single day and not forget it. And the third part was teach someone else to be happy and to be grateful. That's, for me, that was like a aha moment. No, that's actually the point of life. Being happy, doing things that make you happy every day, being grateful, and teaching other people. Like earlier on today, I went to a little cafe, and they didn't have anything on the menu that I really liked, but I said, can I have a couple of fried eggs, please, and some smashed avocado? That'll be fine. Do you do sourdough toast? No, we don't do the sourdough. All right, so I'll have those. So they made it for me, but it was so nice, just so lovely. I really enjoyed it. And I just thought about, so grateful to the people who'd got the avocados, smashed the avocados, somebody who made it, somebody who transported it from wherever they transported it. You know, the chickens that laid the eggs, but the person who picked the eggs, the person who'd, cooked the eggs. If you look in detail, you can really transform your perception of life. If you go into the minutiae and go granular, your life will change. But if that changes, your business changes then. Suddenly, you're a nicer person to be around. Suddenly, you're more tolerant. You take rejection really easily. Just push it aside instead of taking it to heart and feeling I'm not good enough. Things that used to matter to you won't matter because you are more concerned with the fine details of life and the big picture simultaneously. And your ego is being swept aside. All right, so I want you to think about that. That's your personality, as Joe Dispenza says, is your personal reality. Okay, so telltale signs of imposter syndrome. I'm a fake and I'm going to be found out. I lucked out. If I can do it, anyone can. It's almost like sounds like modesty, but sometimes it's not, because you don't believe in yourself. I had a lot of help. Of course you had a lot of help, which is great, but you actually did the work. I had connections. They're just being nice. Failure is not an option. I made it up as I went along. I've said this over the years. You know, I've said it. We've all said it at some point. We've said something which is self-doubt. We've said something. We've questioned ourselves. But I'm a big believer in the person who's going to back you is you. The person who's going to back you first is you. It's not your wife. It's not your brother. It's not your best friend. If you don't back yourself, then everyone else who backs you, it doesn't matter. You're literally like pushing a rock uphill. The opinions of others is irrelevant. It's actually what your opinion is that counts, actually. Somebody can say you're amazing. They can say you are brilliant. If you don't believe that, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to improve yourself, and it's really difficult then to grow your business because you're not believing in yourself. So it starts with you. Actually starts with you. Belief is a feeling of certainty. It's actually, I feel good. I'm good enough. That's a feeling. For years and years, I didn't feel that way, personally, from childhood. But that's another story. So, I want you to think about, do you at all say any of this shit? Do you actually say it? So what I want you to do is pair up with someone new, please, just for 2 minutes. Come on, talk to them about the stuff that you're saying inside, just for 2 minutes. This way. Hello. Yes.
I think sometimes what they say is that we've got to interact with them about that too. So they're very easy that's what this is.
Hi guys, just for those of you watching online, just thought it might be interesting to share with you some of my thoughts. Some of these points here, so I think we can all relate to some of these things, but the thing that always fascinates me, and I've been working with David for a while now, is that the language that we use often informs the way we think. And so sometimes, just by using this kind of language as a default, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I made a point a long time ago to make sure that the words that I use to describe my feelings or my situation and much more in alignment with what aviation even when sometimes, you know, imposter syndrome kicks in for all of us. But I think language is really, really key to the way that we influence
Great, thanks for your participation. All right, so famous people who've admitted to having imposter syndrome. So it's common, more common than you think, and it's something that if you can recognize it and deal with it, you'll grow as a person and so the business. Sheryl Sandberg, CEO of Meta, Tom Hanks, Michelle Obama, and Lady Gaga. So people with, say, giant egos, very successful, but still having imposter syndrome, still having a little bit of self-doubt. There are lots of people who were successful but had self-doubt. Lots of people who were unsuccessful have self-doubt. So it's common and something that you can do something about. So you might say, okay, how can I help myself? So I'll just put 4 things that you can do to help yourself. Practical things just to help yourself. Because I think that reading books about it is one thing. And listen to audio and podcasts. Anybody listen to podcasts or audio here? Yes, we're all listeners. We all want to learn. But as Ron says, you want to apply it. If you don't apply your learnings, it's not a learning. If you leave here today and say, I've already said that, I'll do that next Wednesday, you'll have forgotten. You'll have actually forgotten. So in an event like this, similar events, you will probably hear about 10% of what I'm saying, or remember 10% of what I'm saying. 90% will wash out very quickly, because when you leave the room, you go back into life. So at the moment you're anchored. So do as much writing as you can. If you haven't got paper, just type it into your phone. All right? So the first thing is, it's called elastic band technique. It's very practical. So with this, you just put an elastic band on your non-dominant hand's wrist. So I'm right-handed, so I put it on my left wrist. And then what you do is you monitor your thoughts over the next week. So if you are putting yourself down, if you're saying anything that I put on the earlier screen, if you're saying, I'm good enough, if you're saying that was just luck, ping it. Ping it. When you do ping it, you send a signal up your arm to the brain, called pain. So the brain registers as pain. It registers as, oh right, I've just done it again. So you're actually giving instruction. You're waking yourself up out of that automaticity. Because you've got 2 minds, remember, your subconscious and your conscious mind. You're consciously pinging that to remind your subconscious mind, right, I'm doing it, okay, I want to change that. It's the first step to change. In the second segment, I'll be talking more about self-awareness, but the first step is always awareness. So this is a very powerful tool that I tell my clients to do, and they do it. They do it, and they think F-U-C-K. This works, because no one's going to remind you when you wake up in the morning to do this. But if you've got the elastic band on, it'll immediately remind you. So when you wake up in the morning, you have to wake up in your head. But what we do is we get up the same side of bed every day. We go to the same bathroom. We do the same things. If we're doing the same things, change is difficult to happen. Change doesn't happen in a hurry. So when we wake ourselves up with this, it literally jolts us. Okay, so it 100% works. You might have a sore wrist after a week, but it will wake you up. Okay, so this thing's called the Daily 5 Wins. So again, I've been doing this for years. It's looking at you every single day and taking each day as an event in your life. Not suddenly coming to the weekend and saying, I can't remember my week. What did I do this week? It's you actually, if you want to, you can record it in a journal, in your diary, on your phone, you can do that. Or you can just say it. What were my 5 wins today? Usually say it in late afternoon, early evening. Just review your day. It forces your brain to review your day. So it forces your conscious mind to review your day. And when you do that, you can pick out the good bits of your day. Because we're experts at focusing on what went wrong today. We're experts. If the conversation we didn't like with our boss or our customer peed us off, we think about that and we talk about it, and that's where our focus is on. And then in the evening, we then say, it was an SHIT day. But in reality, a lot of good stuff happens. We don't take the metrics off. So this allows you to take the metrics. If you do this every day, you'll have, what is it, 150 wins a month. It's fantastic. So I was just doing this earlier on in my lunch hour. Saying, what are the 5 wins of looking up the slide? What are 5 wins for this morning? I was thinking, I had a good sleep on the train, some nice breakfast, nice conversation. So immediately, because I do it all the time, you get good at it. So you can then 5 wins. But when we do it with someone new, they sort of struggle because they're not used to doing it. It's like when you learn to swim, it's not easy, and then it becomes easier and easier. And one day you just cross the threshold and you become a swimmer. And when you learn to ride a bike, it's not easy, and it's one day the stabilizers are off and you feel amazing. So the daily 5 wins, okay? So I want you to do quickly, just quickly now, is to talk to somebody you don't know, very quickly, about the 5 wins you've had today so far. Come on, go please. Good one.
I'm so pleased to meet you. So what
So every time you do this, you're talking about wins. Therefore, you're going to feel like a winner every day. It gives you a winning mindset. And it's a fabulous way of looking at life because you feel good every day. Even on the worst days, you can still feel, oh, I've done something today. This is what you want to do, is 1% growth every day, 1% growth. If you do that, that's 365 a year. You'll feel good. We often marginalize all that went right in our life, our business career. We just ignore it because we're chasing something. This forces you to get back in the moment and look. And this is not gratitude, by the way. This is your wins of the day. The win could be green lights. I pass, the traffic lights were all green. Great. We ignore that, right? So 5 wins, very important. The timeline exercise, right? So the timeline exercise is, often we forget what we've done in our life. We're just so often forward-facing that we forget what we've achieved. even from a young age, we've just forgotten. Maybe past your GCSEs, O levels in my case. Maybe you learned to swim. Maybe you built your house. Whatever you did in your life, maybe got a degree. We forget. But the timeline exercises, it takes as long as you want. So I usually say under 2 hours. So go into a cafe. I love cafes because everybody's in a good mood. And just get a notebook and just write down a timeline. Go back as far as you want to. So say you might go back to say 1990, and then just look at what you've achieved since then. So write a line down the middle of an A4 page, and then start writing down events of what's happened from there till now. You weren't even born then, were you? 2010, you okay? So look back, say, over a period of time, and write down events which have happened over that time. And when you do that, you're going to be staggered for what you've achieved. You're going to be staggered because we often measure our success by what's happening right now, but not actually what we've done before. You know? So when you think about it, you might have children. Wow, you might have bought your first house, in 2015, whatever. Think about what you've achieved, because when you do that, what it's going to do is build up currency. It's going to start building up emotional, mental, resilient currency. You're going to start feeling, I am enough. I am enough. It's the antithesis of self-doubt. Self-doubt is thinking, oh, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. When you start doing this, these little things every day, because we can see these are very, very practical, and if you do them, it will change you from the inside out. Your mind is invisible. Your behavior isn't. So if you're a procrastinator, it's a result of your mindset. If you're procrastinating all the time, if you should be making those calls to potential leads, you should be emailing someone, but you're overthinking it, that's your mindset. You haven't broken your fingers, you're just not picking the phone up, or you're not typing the email out. So you've got to think about, where am I self-sabotaging myself? What am I doing? So when you start doing that, life changes, and then your business changes. Mm-hmm. So the last pointer is professional help. So that is when you actually seek professional help. So some people, they've got a story they need to get out, so they speak to a counsellor. Some people have deep-seated issues, they speak to a therapist. Some people want to go further, they speak to a coach like me. So they get help, because the greatest investment you could ever make in yourself, in life, is yourself, whatever it is. I've got a coach, you've got a coach, this is normal.
And I write speak to grandpa then.
So we have to look after our minds. When we do that, things like imposter syndrome, self-doubt, we can reflect, and then you can then deflect all the negativity and start feeling a lot different by yourselves. We've come to the end of the slides for the first section. I'm open to Q&A if you want a quick Q&A. What time is it now? I've got a few minutes. Anybody wants to? Hello.
I wanted to ask, is it not healthy sometimes to have a little bit of imposter syndrome?
Little bit of what, sorry?
Imposter syndrome. Is it healthy?
Yeah, it's having self-doubt. If something is stopping you from achieving your goals, being happy, then that's not healthy.
No.
You want to keep your feet on the ground, be humble, that's great. But when we're talking about levels of self-doubt, where somebody is anxious, stressed, that they don't come to events like this because they feel, who's going to speak to me? Years and years ago, I would have thought that. I had so much self-doubt, I wouldn't have come to an event like this. And if I did, I'd be at the back, hiding away under a baseball hat. So I went from there to here today. I did my first public talks 2010. yeah, 2009, 2010. So before that, there's no way I would have stood up in front of people. But the thing that gets me up every day is, what's my message? How can I help people? That is it. No one's a born speaker. You just got to get up and do it by repetition. So yeah, I agree with you. To keep yourself humble, but when it comes to the level, I'll sort it out. Yeah. Any other questions at all? Hello.
You said the thing about rocks in the backpack.
Sorry.
You said
Oh yes.
the thing about the rocks in the backpack.
Yeah.
But if you achieve something with the rock in the backpack, would that not make you stronger?
If you achieve something
With the rock in the backpack, that not make you stronger. So if then you did it without it later on, easy.
okay, so with the rocks in the backpack, they represent things that you don't want.
Yeah.
So it would represent, say, anger. One could represent anger. Resentment. One could represent a rejection that you haven't got over, and you just keep referring back to it, you know. Or one of those rocks could be overthinking. So you keep on overthinking stuff and never press the execute button. So that's what I was referring to in the rucksack. Yes. You get stronger when you deal with all your SHIT, but you have to let go of stuff because you can't perform as well. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Bit of a follow-on from Abby's question,
Yeah.
really. So some of those like imposter syndrome traits, or not necessarily procrastination ones, but they are also can be looked at techniques to help you stay grounded, which I think.
Yes.
Are there any others? What other techniques would you suggest to kind of stay grounded? Because I think if you completely ignore a lot of those traits, which can be negative anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also then go over to the other side where you've got unrealistic expectations
Yes.
of yourself
Yes.
and what can happen for you. Like you can end up being a dreamer and nothing happens.
Absolutely. It's about taking action, isn't it? The whole look at imposter syndrome is where am I doubting myself, overthinking to the point where it's affecting me. When we're looking at you talking about practical techniques?
Like your elastic band stuff fell off, blew my mind.
Yeah. To get into the mind of someone, you really have to find out what are you thinking, yes? And our inner dialogue determines how we actually interact with everyone. And sometimes the amount of clients I've worked with, and I'll repeat back what they've just said. They said, did I say that? I said, you just said that. You know, you just said that. Because we're on autopilot. Because we're on autopilot, some stuff comes out of our mouth. And it's what we've said to our best friend, we say to another friend, we said to our partner, so it becomes our modus operandi. So we start saying that same thing. Yeah. So a very highly practical way of dealing with it is actually working with a pro, a professional, somebody who's going to actually reflect back what you're saying. So for me, your inner dialogue is something that you wake up in the morning, and if you wake up in the morning and say, oh shit, it's another day, you're already changing your biochemistry.
Just note that down, not being ignorant.
Oh, that's fine, yeah. Your internal biochemistry, and all the research has proven that our inner dialogue, our thoughts do affect ourselves. They do. You know, all that research that's been done. I mean, my first degree was biochemistry, so I'm really interested in the neurochemistry of the brain. And our brain, the 100 billion brain cells we have, are a reflection of what's happening inside of us. Our thoughts, they do directly impact on us. I was talking with somebody about this a couple of days ago. She was really putting herself down, getting angry with herself. I said, well, if you carry on doing that, you could make yourself ill. You could actually make yourself ill. Because every time you repeat a thought, some people have tension in the neck, some people have stomach ulcers, you know. Some people have IBS, so there's so much evidence to suggest now that our thoughts affect our reality. So seeing a pro is really important, you know, professional, really important. Yeah. So if you want to think of something practical, get out of your head. They'll ask you certain questions that no one else will ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Know what to ask.
Sorry?
They know what to ask.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's what, you're welcome. Yeah. Any other questions at all?
With regards to the 5 types of an imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
would aspects of any one of them be a good thing in life?
Mm.
Like being suitable, for example. One
Yeah, of course.
Shall that's a good thing for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's they are the type of personas to have imposter syndrome, or you might have 1 or 2 or 3. You know, but being a superwoman or superman, of course, is good as long as it's not detrimental to you, to your health, and not bring about that self-doubt. Any other questions at all? Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I just want to add a few little bits to that because the thing that just struck me as I was listening to that, and we talked through that presentation before, and this goes back to what I said right at the beginning. There's things that David talked about, and I'll point out 2 of them in particular. So the one is the 5 wins. Now, I used to do something very similar to that years ago, and it used to be a habit. So every day I would write down, instead of 5 wins, it used to be 5 gratitudes. I like the 5 wins as you explained it, because the win's a bit more sort of, it's got that extra bit of, you know, a win is gratitude's a bit more, you know, zen. Win is like, yes, you know. So, and I used to do that every day, religiously, and it was a habit, but I don't do it anymore. I can't remember when I stopped, but what I know is when I used to do it, it was good. On our entrepreneurial journey, this happens all the time. We do stuff that we know is good for us, that works, and we don't notice when we stop doing it. And I just had that, you know, epiphany moment there when I thought, blimey, why don't I do that anymore? I used to love it. It's great. At the end of the day, just making an effort to go, yeah, that's what's happened. And it gives you that positive mindset. And I think it sets you up for the next day. So I am definitely going to start doing that again. That is my pledge. And then the other one was the timeline. Now, I've never done that. And I've heard you talk about it before. And I've done a lot of the stuff that you've talked about. But I've not done that one. And for me, that is my takeaway today. What I said right at the beginning, make sure you action at least one of these things. I'm going to do that timeline because I think that is the reason that resonated with me is when I'm coaching, a lot of people they're very focused on the now. They're like, okay, what's the next win? And they can feel dissatisfied, and you know they can have imposter syndrome. They can feel like they're failing because they're just focused on what is their next goal. And I often have to remind people about just take a step back. Just look at where you are now and what you've achieved and put things into perspective, because you don't need to beat yourself up right now because you're already awesome. You're already doing really well. This next thing is just the next step. And so that timeline, I think, is another, that's what I'm going to implement. So thank you for that, mate.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. Give David a round of applause. Okay, so next up, we have got, I'll get my clicker. We have got our entrepreneurial round table. Now, I'm going to host this, and I've not done one of these before, so I'm quite excited to do it because, as I said right at the beginning, this was from a show that Mark put on, and I was in the audience watching this round table, and I just found it really fascinating. So I've got quite a few things that I want to approach, but I'm hoping this is going to be pretty entertaining, and I'm certainly going to enjoy it, I think, along the way. So, as I said right at the beginning, we've got some fantastic speakers, and I think this will show them all again. So, Sophia, what I'm hoping is, what we're going to do, we're going to use these.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit on here, and I'm hoping will get us all in shot. So, Sophia, if you take a seat.
Yeah.
And we'll do an introduction when I get everybody up. If we can get Matt and Mark and Theo. I don't know if you knew this, but you're up, mate. I'm not even sure I told you you were going to do this.
Great to see you, darling.
We need to get a drink after this.
Absolutely.
There we go.
I was going to say
So it's like a.
I'm glad he
it's
just
like
didn't
a
do it to me.
reunion, isn't it?
Theodore.
So let's see if we get some. You have a seat, guys. I think you should all get into frame.
Oh, sweet. Oh,
Is that working? We all up. Tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I'm just going to move this back a little bit.
Listen.
There we go.
I've got
Fantastic. So I thought what would be great to get things kicked off, if you just want to do a little introduction, talk about you and your business, and then we can kick things off. Should we start with you, Sophia?
If you want to.
Let's go for it.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. I'm Sophia Giorgio and I am the CEO of the Number One Club International. It's my baby that was launched back originally in 2019, although my connections have been built over a lifetime, it seems, of over 25 years. The Number One Club International is a private and exclusive membership club that has in excess of 22,500 members internationally in every continent of the world, who are ultra high net worth. We have some celebrities, we have some royal connections as well that are involved. But on top of that, I'm also an author and a radio host as well, which I host a show in New York City, and have recently written a children's book that's been launched in August. So
August.
that's me.
Great website. Love all of it.
Grant to thank for that, my business partner, absolutely.
And Mr. Theodore Hoffman, you're up.
By the way, you're looking really
He's looking
mate.
good.
You're looking
in
strong,
good
mate.
shape. You're looking in good shape. For real. My name's Theodore Hoffman. I've got a new tech company that I launched a year and a half ago. It's taking off very well. Like, organic sales are starting to come in. We're scared to put money in because we need more hands out there. So I'm currently franchising, and it's really, really taking off. I'm super excited. I got like a good deal came in today, and I was just literally as I came in and
It's
I
one
said,
of your wins.
was one of my wins. When I came in and I heard that, I was like, I do need to give myself a pat on the back a bit.
I think we're going to give that a win. I've got to say, guys, just a little bit of background. Theo and I have known each other for many years now, and what a grafter. This guy, I mean, we had a great interview a couple of events back, and your work ethic, mate, the success that you're seeing right now is just pure talent and graft.
And I can't take loads of credit, but you helped me a lot, especially with sales and stuff like that. You've been watching me on Instagram, doing them sales, back-to-back 7 calls, Zoom calls, setting appointment setters and stuff like that. I've only been able to watch you do that and say, you know what, he's done that. A bit of research and then implementing it, actioning it. It's like massive thanks to you.
No, you're welcome, mate, you're welcome. Brilliant, awesome. And Mark Linton, thanks for the idea, mate.
You're welcome. I mean, it's good to be on the other end actually, because I was just running around like, blue arse. But always got to be careful, you're on camera.
He's already dropped the S-bomb.
That's all good, I'm the audience. Yeah, I run the Business Growth Network, and success isn't overnight. I mean, I've been doing networking like Sophia for many years, and you have your ups, your downs, and we all know COVID was kind of hitting us sideways for most of us. And what we did, which you were part of that actually, again, this is why we're all here, because you're an instrument with all the success here, is we took our face-to-face events just in lonely old Birmingham online, and we helped 3,000 businesses connect nearly 2 years of online networking. But the great news is we're back out there face-to-face, and we just did an event in Bristol yesterday. And when I first did it in October, I had 5 people turn up. I thought, brilliant, okay, keep going. Yesterday, we had 40 odd businesses turn up. And I thought, wow, this is where it's going.
That is brilliant.
And we've got nearly 250 members now.
It's brilliant.
Well, it's brilliant to have you here, mate, because again, another testament to, everybody on this panel here are grafters.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurial success is just, it's 99% perspiration, isn't it, guys? You know? And the way you're building your business now, so the business growth show, hopefully, you know, you'll get it out there, because the partners that are watching online now, you know, you're that far away from going international, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we took ambassadors, one of them is here today, Chris, and we took a few of them to hospitality today, try and treat them, because it's always about what you can share with others, not just your own success, but sharing that success with them. So we went to the polo, and you can imagine what it's like, but people from Saudi Arabia, they were like, from Dubai, and they were saying we should bring this here.
Exactly.
And that's where your vision is, isn't it?
And then last but not least, Mr. Matthew Rahman, up to speed. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Up to speed. I've been a Blam partner now since November 2017. So Up to Speed is my own company. Well, it used to be my own company. My lovely wife's now in charge. So it's my job just to generate and grow the business. And she set me a nice deadline saying she wants the business doubled by end of the year. So we're all going for it. So yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I love my job. I love my life. Recently, we've just been away to Turkey. And we've come back, and I'm talking to a couple from Glasgow over there, and they're on about, well, I'm glad to get away and have a break. And I said to her, get a break. So they can't wait to get back. At the end of the day, being an entrepreneur is your life, and I love it.
Yeah. That's awesome, and that's one of the reasons why I invited you on here, because you know the way that you've applied yourself to the business, you've been on a journey like everybody else in terms of, you know, it didn't hit the ground running from day one.
No.
But now you apply yourself using the system, the process like a machine, you know, and it is awesome. It's awesome.
Right.
So the value that you're going to bring to this talk is I'm sure going to be great. So what do I do now, Mark?
Only joking. I think the battery's just standing there. That's
So what I wanted to do is just pick out on a couple of the things that David talked about, because I think the imposter syndrome is one of those subjects that if you go to your networking events or, you know, you'll talk to, I know for a fact that even guys and girls that you would think are absolutely beyond that still have doubts, still suffer with, you know, that sort of, am I good enough? Am I doing the right thing, the wrong thing? But never talk about it. Never talk about it. And that's why right at the beginning of this talk, you know, I'm like, have an open mind, because some of this you might think, well, you know, super successful people don't struggle with this. But what I would like to ask you guys is, when have you faced imposter syndrome? Okay, and how did you deal with it? And is it still something you deal with? I mean, I'll put Sophia, go for it.
Yeah, I think obviously for me, coming from the background, I was in a media background originally before all of this started. I had an idea and I wanted to implement it. So yeah, when I first started, and I think personally, I think every entrepreneur, and I don't care who you are, I think every entrepreneur will have at one point in their journey some fear about or feel that imposter syndrome, because I certainly did. I did, because I was thinking, okay, am I doing this right? Oh my God, that's a fluke, or something that's happened, you know. I haven't looked back, and this is where, and I'll tell you who actually brought it to my attention. My own mom, bless her, she's my hero. She actually turned around and said to me, why are you doubting yourself? Why do you doubt that you haven't achieved that you feel that you don't deserve that win? This is exactly, so it resonated what you were saying to me. And I actually had to sit back and think, oh my God, I actually made that happen. So why am I doubting that I actually made that happen? If I hadn't have done whatever I did at that point, I mean, I can't pick something out of particular, but then it would never have come to fruition. And now I'm in one of the most fortunate positions, 10 years on potentially, from not from the #1 club itself, but from when I first started previously in the media and everything else. I mean, it was longer than that. But yeah, I mean, for me, the things that I follow and do every day, without shadow of a doubt, the first thing that I do in the morning is I thank God and I thank the universe for me being alive to be able to start my day and to do the good that I want to do. Because for me, it's about legacy. It's leaving a legacy for me. It's not about money. It's not about, you know, the financial aspect of things. That will always come. Love what you do and the money will always come. That's what I was always, and that's what we've always said ourselves. And so for me, gratitude is massive. And I think if you're grateful for what you have, and I came from very, very, very humble beginnings. So that's one of my things that I actually do every single day. And I script. I write a journal and I script. And I'll give you an example. 13 months ago, when we were going through all of the situation with COVID and we were just coming out about 15 months ago, I'd scripted about where I wanted to see myself in 15, 16, 17 months' time. And everything that I'd scripted and I wrote down, Grant, you know all of this because we've had this discussion. Everything that I said that I wanted to do, I wanted to elevate the number one club to be one of the best. It is. I wanted to have a radio show and I wanted to be on TV. I'm going to be on a Netflix show come October. I'm going to be doing this. You
started a film?
I've started a film, a Hollywood movie. Listen, everything. I mean, it's very surreal for not young. Why did I say young? But for a lady from.
We'll go with it.
Anyway. But yeah, all of the things that I'd written down and scripted, literally 15, 16 months on, every single thing that I've been grateful for. And actually, I did it in the present term. So I wrote down how it made me feel. Thank you for allowing me to have my own TV show. Thank you, and this has made me, you know, have a voice to X amount of people. I now have a radio show in New York City, which I never in a million years thought would happen, that has got over 13.5 million listeners worldwide. Listening to little
They love a bit of from me.
They do love a little bit. So what I'm trying to say is that always believe. We'll always have some self-doubt, but never ever doubt your ability, because the only what's the word I'm looking for? The only barriers that you put up are the barriers that you put up for yourself. You can achieve anything providing you want to achieve it. So you've just got to believe in yourself and just go with the flow and take it one step at a time. Every little step is a step forward. It's not a step back. You will have setbacks, but every little step forward is a positive, and always look at that, because some people think, oh, I haven't done, haven't achieved this much, but you're getting there, and that's what it's all about. So I hope that's
awesome. That's awesome. It's inspiring.
Thank you.
Theo.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of you say, like literally 100%, because if you have that self-belief and it comes down to the wins, but as entrepreneurs, you can be so tough on yourself, and you don't give yourself that pat on the back that you need to keep on going, because you want this perfect vision, and then you're actually probably striving, and you're just not seeing all the work and the steps that you've done previously, and then you get to a point where you're tired, and when you're at that tired, you can give up, or you can carry on going, but you just got to be consistent, because that resistance there, when you actually get the goal, that win, it then gives you like power or extra energy or another level where you're like, oh well, I've hit here, now I can get to the next level. But that resistance, you definitely need to push past. Just for example, before starting this business and getting the information and knowledge I needed in order for this to propel forward, I had my own agency, but before that, I did some work with another agency, and I was doing a lot of video and all this content and stuff like that. And the guy said, like, we need you to get sales, we need to get this video, you're going to take 50% of the income that you bring in. I was like, okay, sound. And I had all these business cards and I was calling and emailing. And then there was one that came through. I'm not sure if I can say the company's name. It's a big company. And yeah, I'm not going to say it.
You say large automotive company.
There's that one as well. I'll say that one. There's a large automotive company. It's a Jaguar Land Rover. And then there was one before. There's another one before, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the name, so I'm just going to park it there. But with this story, with both of them, it was amazing because the first one gave me the energy to get to that big, larger company. Because I was like, I'm just some black guy from Wolves, do some video, hanging a camera, yeah, this is great. Getting a bit of cash, doing a video here for 100 quid. But with the story, it's more like I was on the round table with the guys, and the guy that owned the company said, yeah, you're going to do a video, you're going to charge them £200-300. I was like, mate, what I'm going to make for them is going to be worth way more than that. They're going to pay either 5, 7 or 10k. And he was like, they're never going to do that. And I was like, watch me. Don't play with me. I'm going to make this happen. And I spent I think it was 2-3 days watching tons of videos, making this beautiful presentation. And then I'm in front of the round table with the guys, and I'm feeling like I'm being grilled, but I prepared myself to make sure that whatever they're going to say, they're going to buy from me that day. That's it, basically. And I said, this is the package. HD for 5,000. You can get 4K with air drones and all this, that, and the other. 5K, and then 7K, and then 10K. Which one is it? And grilling me, asking me all these questions. Can you do cheap? I was like, the price is the price. I believe in myself. I'm going to get it at this level, that level. If you want me to start as soon as possible, I can get it done. When are you ready to get start? And they're like, oh, you got so much conviction in what you say. And I'm like, yeah, because I believe in myself. And then we walked away, email and call the next day. The guys thought, nah, that's not happening. Email, text, phone call. Yeah, we're going to go with the 7 grand package. You should have seen me in the office. Fist punch in the air, saying you just feeling like the man, like you made the win. And then in my life, I've never seen that much money at one point. I'm like, what the hell is this? But just being able to deliver and just going with the resistance and having that self-belief actually gets you there. Because if you don't believe, it's not going to work. You have to believe, because you're just the resistance is just going to push you back, and then you'll just give up and do something else. And it goes into what you said. It's either your legacy and how you look into the future. What are you doing it for? What is your why? Because if you don't have a why, then you're automatically counting yourself out. So it could be for family, for friends, if you want a house, you want to look after people, what is that? And if you don't have that, then it can be hard to keep on going, but you just got to have that self-belief, and you got to have that person inside you.
It's a great story, mate, because I think when we look back in our sort of entrepreneurial journey, the ones that you remember,
yeah.
I mean, a 7 grand win for you now would be like, it's just another day in the office. And it's like, yes.
Yeah, I swear, I wish I had a camera in the corner watching that moment. I literally lit up, and when I saw it myself, I was like, I've never seen that man win in my life.
Brilliant.
But isn't it the truth where you say what you put out into the universe is what you're going to get back, and you went into that room and you were going to sell.
100%.
So your energy, because we're just energy, we're a big ball of energy. If you put positive energy out there, you're going to get positive energy back. If you put negative energy out there, you're going to get negative. So it's very black and white.
Yeah, you reap what you sow, don't you?
Absolutely.
You reap what you sow.
Absolutely.
I'm just worried about following on police here. Sorry.
This is successful himself.
I always can't figure that, because the imposter syndrome, where you are, and all the rest of it, and it kind of brought me onto when we took the decision to move the show from Birmingham, where I know everyone, to Cheltenham. And one of those big reasons was because a great friend of mine, she's you ever thought about your not really, no. I mean, I look down that way now and I think, why do I want to bring my people or the whole people I have on a journey about an hour away from Birmingham? But it worked. And you know, there was an element of that imposter syndrome, like, is this going to work? You know, there's always that, like, coming out of COVID, are you going to be able to get this many people in the room? Is it going to be successful? Are people going to want to come and listen to speakers in a room, you know, in a panel? And I generally felt afterwards, and I had people that I've known for years say to me, why are you taking up Birmingham? Would you think about bringing it back? And the answer is no. Not because Birmingham's not a great city. I don't want to put that out there. It is an amazing city. But we have so many clients now who are based in Cheltenham, Gloucester, Bristol, Exeter, Birmingham, you know, Manchester. You got to think to yourself, like, you know, yes, Birmingham is easier from the north to get to, but a lot of our business at the moment is in the southwest in London. So it does really make sense to do that. So that was one of the things. And, like, you know, and then the other thing I think about, like, you know, and it is that whole rat race when we've all been in it, especially in sales, and I've been doing this a long time. And you get that one-off sale, like the 7 grand, and you think, wow, it's amazing. And then you do it again because you spent it or you've had to pay the staff. And you're like, I'm just like, yeah, looking at the man in the mirror and dusting myself up and go again. But what I do learn from other people, and this it's your show today, but I've learned from you, it's all about the residual income, and it is all about getting, you know, years ago, if we thought about Netflix, you know, because it used to be blockbusters, didn't it? Buy your cassette and you rented it out, took you back the next day, and if you're late, you got fined. Netflix just revolutionised all of that. And now, that's it, gym memberships, all this kind of membership solution. As a society, we've all become used to not having to pay big chunks up front. We want it in smaller bite sizes, like your mobile phone, your data, and all of this. So if you're running a business right now, think about how you can turn your business into a residual income business, because, you know, it's not to say you're not working, it's not to say that you're not doing the things you want to do. It just takes the stress away. And trust me, I've had a few of those over the years. Yeah. So even in your darkest moments, you, like you say, it's you that you rely on, the inner self, and what you put out there is what you get. I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah, and that's why, yeah, we have ambassadors who work with us. Chris is here today. I'm always trying to think about their business as well. They're a member. How can I help them? How can I promote them? How can I help push them into the limelight? Yeah, some people think it's all about me. It's not really. I'm not really bothered, to be honest. It's pushing other people in front. Give them an opportunity to speak. Give them an opportunity to put their brand out there. And joint brand owner type thing. You know, look after your customers. Look after the people with you. And eventually it will come to you. Yeah, so thank you. And follow up.
Well, as my 19-year-old son says, I train him in the morning. Light work, brother. Light work, Dad. Come on, light work. I'm on the bench under the bar and he's saying, come on, Dad, it's light work. I think I've never seen you shift this way. But anyway, that's another story. Well, yeah, just touching on all three, what Sophia, Theodore, and Mark, nearly said Mark said. With regards to daily affirmations and goals, that's a great way what I use to get rid of imposter syndrome, because I do get little bits of that pretty much every day. Celebrating the wins, you know, when you do a big deal, it's like hands back behind your head. You know, you think, well, you can be tempted to take your foot off the gas, so I do definitely relate to that. And like Mark said, it's about giving back and, you know, building a customer, not just building a customer, but building a relationship, which you know is sustainable and keep you building, growing month on month end. But the main thing for me, Grant, is with regards to what you always say to me every 2 weeks is, let's see your numbers. And then numbers, I know, just keep me avoiding. Yeah, they don't lie. And to be fair as well, the main one I want is the productivity, which is the calls. If I do them calls, then numbers, everything else follows. So that's all the one I mainly go for. And this week, because I've had my lovely wife taking over, I pre-warned you, Grant, my numbers are down, so I'm not really impressed. But I'll make up for it next week. Yeah, I've been in Turkey, yeah.
I mean, interesting what you said, Mark, because Matt's business is all about the MRR.
That's correct,
yes.
And, you know, you just had a week in Turkey, you haven't got to worry because you know the money's going to come in anyway.
That's right.
And monthly recurring revenue, guys, is the thing that helps you sleep at night.
Yeah.
You know that, and I think pretty much everybody here on the panel, you know, it's about that MRR.
Right.
Certainly, my business, you know, is all about the MRR.
Yeah.
And that's what can help us just take a breath. Because when you're always fighting to get sales in each month, that, you know, and that was my business for years.
Residual income is the way forward.
I think the one thing
in
that's
everything.
great that you mentioned, because I've been getting on the calls a lot more, you've seen, is that when you're first like starting doing the calls, you're like hesitant as hell. But then when you actually get into your flow, and then you start getting people really interested in what you're saying, and then you're closing as well, it just boosts your confidence every single time.
Right.
Where initially, or if you're having an off day, it's like, you don't want to pick up the phone, or you don't want to be turning on the Zoom call. But really, when you're sharp and you're getting into the flow, you become better every single time that you do it. So that's a way of building up your inner self.
And I
your
think,
confidence.
taking on that as well, I think it's also a very big thing is who you surround yourself with. Okay? Who you actually surround yourself with is really important when you're in business. Okay? If you're surrounding yourself with people that are negative and constantly doubtful or whatever, they are toxic. Please understand. We've all been there. Okay? Please understand, you have to release with love and light any toxicity in your business life, in your personal life, because you will not move forward because you're not allowing the positive energy and the positive people that surround. Now, I feel, and I'm sure as you all do, this man has been my rock, and I say this all the time too, don't I? He has been my rock through difficult times throughout the years as well. But having somebody positive on your side and in your corner constantly, when you do have these times where you're doubting yourself, or just lifts you straight back up. Now, I've chosen, and Greg knows this because I'm a bit of a Greek whirlwind, I'm all over the place. I choose not to have bad days. I don't have bad days anymore. Life is too short to have bad days. It's how you choose to deal with that that will depend on how your day turns out. So it's your choice. If you have something that goes wrong, it's how you deal with it. If you deal with it in a positive manner, then you'll have a positive outcome from a negative situation. But if you think and you are then, this, that, the other, then all that's going to come back to you is just a negative thing. So I think, surround yourself with positive people. You've got a great team of people here and that will support you. Obviously, just focus on what you need to do, and if you need help, ask. I think that's another thing.
That's correct. And the answer is always no until you ask.
Absolutely.
That's true,
And ask people that you trust. People, they don't have to be business moguls. I know there's been people that I've asked, like I said, my mom, that gave me that inspiration to move forward on things because, when I had those doubts. So I think people don't ask the right questions sometimes. People are scared to ask because it's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. A positive person and somebody that is successful will tell you that without asking the right questions or asking so that I can learn, I'm never going to be able to achieve what we need to achieve. So, sorry, I'm taking it.
I've got something actually I want to pick up on, because I think this is one of those chats that could go on all the time. This is the kind of chats we have in the pub. It's a lot easier than I thought.
This is just the advertising.
So, Theo, I've got something that I want to ask you. I want to pick up on your story, and I hope this will be helpful to people in the room. When you went and did that presentation, and you had that unwavering confidence, what was different about being able to do that for the first time? How did you find that confidence compared to, it would have probably only been a few weeks before you were pitching for £100 jobs, probably feeling not so confident. What happened?
You know what it is? It's believing that when you know someone's already done it, you know that it's achievable, and then you all it is just finding out the steps of doing that. So you can't go from step 1 all the way to step 10. You've got to know what all the steps are in between, so that process. So that's something that I'm working on more and more into my business, and I've not perfected it because it could be better, but it's in a very good process. But from day 1 of that getting that sale, it was like, I'm seeing all these people do it. What are they doing that I'm not doing? Like, how can I learn? And I just started to pick processes and logical steps in order to get to the end goal. But in terms of like building that confidence, is being repetitive.
Yeah.
And then once I believed myself, I knew that when I stepped into the room, it's like, you just switch it on. You just become who you need to be. Like, you are that person. Sometimes this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, like with scaling my business now and building out my team more. It's like, who do I need to be in order to serve these people?
Yes.
And if you don't become the person you need to be to serve these people, then you're doing them a disservice. So you need to just step up to the plate and be the person you need to be. And then at that point, you're like, okay, let's just switch it on. Whatever it takes, whatever you need to do, whatever resistance comes, you're just going to push through. And then the people see it. And then when they see it, that's the confidence. But if you're in there and you're like, well, I'm not sure about this. Well, you're not sure. Well, I can't. He's not going to help me out.
It's language as well.
Language, yeah.
It's language you speak. So if you're speaking positively,
Mm-hmm.
then obviously that is going to come across as well. You've hit the nail on the head there as
Yeah,
well. It's the
enthusiasm
language
raised
that
as well,
you
isn't it?
use.
Enthusiastic.
Yeah,
It's that
absolutely.
energy that you bring. Because if you can't bring no energy, then you're not going to be able to influence or help or push past resistance. You've actually got to believe, and I think that's where everyone is, the why, but you have to have that vision as well, because if you don't, basically you're just running in the dark if you don't have a vision. And it's okay to run in the dark if you've got a vision, because then you've got a flashlight and you're picking up tools on the way, and you'll build a team on the way, and you'll find your track until you get to where you need to be. But if you're just walking and aimlessly not trying to develop on skills, not trying to develop on your language, not trying to connect and network with people, like, you're not going to get to the end goal. You're just gonna quit. And yeah, I see business and like sales as well is like, you could say it's very like, could be primal. It's like, if you don't kill and if you don't get that food in or that money in,
You're not going to eat.
ain't no one eating. There is no hay, there's no dinner, there's no breakfast. So you best just get out there and just do what you need to do. Otherwise, everyone's starving.
That's a good analogy. I like that analogy.
That's what Andy Moore always says to me. He says you've got to be able to go and, you know, you've got to go and eat what you kill.
Otherwise, ain't no one eating, you're broken. You'll be eating noodles for way too long.
I think what
You have that process of noodles, but you want to try other things. You want to try nice stuff.
I think what is also important as well is when you have that pressure taken away, when you have money in the bank, yeah, and it sounds rudimentary and all the rest of it, when you've got money in the bank, it takes away that pressure that you're not, I value your business, but I don't need your business. If you take that approach to things, that's when good things happen.
When you chase, it never happens.
Absolutely.
And that's the law of attraction, isn't it, as well? It's you're in the field of want, and when you're in want, it's a negative.
Yeah.
So when you don't have that pressure, and you know that you can go and do it, absolutely.
Yeah, money runs away, doesn't it?
100%.
Money runs away.
100%.
So I've got one for you, Mark, that fascinates me, because your business, obviously, you've got your networking business where you run all your little events. Then you've got your big event.
Yes, they culminate into.
Yeah, which, we put on this little event today, and this was, a lot of work. I can't imagine how much effort goes in to running one of your big.
Do you know, I can't ask myself the question as well.
How do you deal with that stress? Because you have to.
I think it is, in all sense of life, who's ever doing events or in events, it's still stressful. It doesn't matter how seasoned you are or not type thing. And I've been doing this, near on
50 years.
Yeah, 20 years. And I know what I want to get from it, and then I obviously moved cities, changed the format a little bit because I want to freshen it up. And then like, gee whiz, I was like, gee, why do I do this? Why not just keep it simple? Yeah. And when we got to the event that day, you know, I was waiting for someone, like a good friend of mine said, I'll pick you up on the way through, like, yeah, to go the night before.
Yeah.
I was like, I could have got there myself, like, it was like, and it literally gave me about half an hour, and I was in there moving these tables, and I remember the same guy said to me, when you did this event at the Birmingham, I remember you measuring the floor. Yeah, who else was going to measure it? Yeah, because you have to believe in what you want. You have a vision of what you want, and I think it does help that, you know, that Lucy at Cheltenham Racecourse, they're amazing, that team. They really were helpful, and we just pulled it together. But there's still the element, you've got to change things around, you've got to, because you know, your vision might be this, but on the morning, something happens. I mean, I had one exhibitor who was supposed to take a massive corner space to come in the night before, you know, rang me up and said, we broke down, we can't get there. So I had to change the whole floor plan again.
Oh, wow.
And,
That's massive.
so it's a like, yeah, because you want that experience, a customer experience to be how you want it to be, and obviously how they should feel, and they don't need to know all of this that goes on behind the scenes. So it's like that swan moment, isn't it?
I had that real empathy for you. Whenever I go to your events, obviously I've been to a few now over the years, and I always have that sort of entrepreneurial empathy thinking, Mark must be really, you know, laughing, you know, because you put all this effort into it, and when you've got an event, it's a deadline that is immovable.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, when we put a website live, it goes live, you know, the day before, the day after. So it's not that big a deal usually. But an event, you've got to, you know, you've got to get it done. So yeah, interested to see. And so, do you like that pressure?
Valid question. No. You're always looking to tweak procedures and how you can get things better. And it's people. Yeah, I'm grateful that I've had some great people from BCU, Birmingham City University, believe it or not. They came down, bless them, students who work with us type thing on placement courses, and they drove down that morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. Can you imagine, like a 20-year-old at university getting in the car to come to this event? And I can't fault them enough. And these people are our future, the ones who want to go into events. So
Yeah.
that was amazing.
Awesome. Matt,
Yes.
right, so I've got something I want to ask you.
Go for it.
Okay, so you've got a real mix of customers that you deal with, okay? So Matt's obviously he's a digital marketer. He sells websites, SEO, apps, social media, all to customers all over the country, actually.
Yeah, that's correct.
What is your favourite sector to work in?
Funerals.
Correct.
I thought you might, that's why I asked.
You need to say anything.
Yeah, so, and why? Because I thought it might be that the answer. I think it's an interesting
I
one.
think the reason why is because our products are such a great fit. Now, as we all know, you only want to really look for a funeral director, unfortunately, when you need them. And our services, as my main man will say over there, Jave, they work really well. You know, we can get the websites seen where they need to be seen by the appropriate people when they need them, and we can give them the message, what they want to see when they need us. It's not a case of sell. You know, you don't do a bog off order. You know, with a funeral director. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're free. So it's not going to work. It's just a case of just making sure that when they land on the website, got the information there, and if they want to call you, they'll call. And that's what it's all about. So yeah, funeral directors at the moment. But I have to admit, there's something I need to talk to you about that. But it's something else.
It's not my fault, is it?
No.
What have I done now?
No.
I remember the idea of having funeral directors as a client. I never sold to a funeral director until I had this lead come my way, and I went to see them, and I sat in front of the funeral director, and I'm like, I really haven't got a clue how to market your business, because it's like it's kind of one of those things where you only need it when you need it, and you never really want to need it. So it's a completely different approach. But when I started working with them, that's when I went to you and the rest of the Blam partners. I said, you know what? Yeah. This is a really good niche, because they seem to be really nice people, They tell some really sick jokes.
Funnily enough, Graham, one of my customers, I said, have you been busy, Owen? He goes, no, I've just been sat around waiting for people to die. Literally, over the weekend, that's what they've been doing. He's got a great sense of humour. So I just said to him, see, I've been dead busy then. He goes, no. And they just roll after each other.
But I think there's a bit of a lesson there for us as entrepreneurs, is that you never know where you're going to find your niche, where you're going to find your business. And that one was a bit of a turn up. And the one that I sold to all that time, that I sort of set the model to, is still one of our best customers. Great people to deal with. A very unusual industry, but you just never know, do you, what kind of business, because, Anyway, right, we are just about on time, guys. Can we just give them a round of applause? That was absolutely awesome. We're definitely going to be doing one of these again. We're going to take a 20-minute break now, guys, and we will be back live. We're going to have a cup of tea and some biscuits, and we'll see you back at 4:05 UK time. So wherever you are in the world, that's 20 minutes time. Thanks, guys.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. We'll leave it rolling.
Yes, we was
I was like, look, Ronnie. You need to buy a watch. I will. So excited. We've got, next time I go to the So we've got well, we've got so much to talk about.
I was on the way to getting along.
Sorry that I talk a bit too much.
I love you, bro. You know what? I'm doing the calls, and every day that I've been doing the calls, it's like you're in the room. I was like, smash that shit. Yeah. Literally, bro.
You're getting there, buddy.
Honestly.
How many franchisees you to?
I've got 3,
Nice.
but since I've hired someone that's not appointed there, because that was something that you mentioned that I was just being woman in iron, and I was like, you know what, I need to become this person, I need to get into this space, I need to get these people on board. I said, fuck it, no issue. Got someone on board.
Yeah.
They started to do the calls. I spent a whole week with them just going through the script, tonality, speaking with them, what the offering is, what we do. And they understand it, they're really, really good at it. All of a sudden, they're on the phone, they're like a bit apprehensive at first. She did two bookings on the first hour, and afterwards, bro, she literally did 7 calls and 7 appointments in about 3 hours for the next day. And I was on the calls there, just back to back, 1 hour, 20-minute break, 1 hour, 20 minutes, all day yesterday.
That is
and then this morning I had the calls.
They're good quality.
Good quality,
Where's the
I've got 4 Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, I've got one starting next week Monday. I've got another one starting on Thursday next week. Another one starting at the end of August, and then another one who wants to start November, but he's got to leave his job and all this and the other.
Yeah.
So he's just got his notice and all that type of stuff. And then I've kind of checked, it's still the franchise, but when you're saying the recurring income, I broke it down and then through Kajabi, You could get all the education and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
payments come through Kajabi.
Yeah.
And then it's got like a community thing inside there, isn't it? So that's where we're going to just like encourage like team spirit, leaderboards, all that type of stuff.
Okay, nice.
And it's been good. And one of the things I've been stressing about a lot is the platform on the app. And I'm like, I don't want to run ads to it. And then next thing you know, like organic people, like today,
Really?
yeah, come in
Killing leads,
£110 a day just to cut someone's back loan. It's high. £110, like organic lead, not promoted it. I've just not been promoting it at all because I've been a bit perfectionistic and trying to make sure it's perfect and this, that, and the other.
But it's all coming in now.
Yeah, and it is, and
So this
it's
is all
coming in.
your hard work that's sort of like
It's
well
all coming
deserved today. It's all sort of going to start flowing into place.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? Can I just say, good things happen to good people.
Hi guys, just another minute and we'll be getting the audience back. Sit tight. Guys, can we get you back in, please? Got a live audience waiting for you.
You lost the team.
Come on.
It's quite a time.
Thank you.
How are you, bud? Good man, good. Good to see you in person now.
Okay, right, look at that. Just about bang on time. So, hope you all had nice refreshments. Enjoy the biscuits, enjoy the tea.
Yeah.
All good. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first half. I think really enjoyed those. The entrepreneurial stories always gets us motivated, excited, and we've got some takeaways from David. So for the second half, we've got another presentation from Mr. David Rahman, and I've just realised I need to tweak this very slightly. There you go. Just bring that forward a bit. Fantastic. And this one is all about confidence. So where's my clicker? There it is. And this is something that, again, a bit like the first thing we talked about, and a lot of the stuff that David covers, it's stuff that every entrepreneur has moments of doubt. Every entrepreneur has to use confidence. I think that story that Theo told earlier was a perfect example of how you've got to find it within yourself. But we don't talk about it. We have to, as entrepreneurs, we often sort of put on this persona where who knows what we're feeling inside. And I think that's one of the things that David is so good at, is picking apart what's going on in our heads and saying, do you know what, it's okay to discuss this, because these inner things that we talk about, that's what influences our behaviours. And if we get that self-talk, that inner talk right, then we can make massive differences to our performance in lots of other areas. So, without further ado, Mr. David Rahman, you're back on. Do you want the clicker or do you want me to?
Yes,
There we go.
Thank you very much.
Because he's useless, that bloke over there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so confidence. This section is about confidence, and for years and years, I can honestly tell you I had no confidence. Back in 1988, I went to university, and I arrived there in Cardiff in a hall of residence, and I should have been happy. I should have been free. Felt free. I'm going to meet new people, but I was stuck in my room. I was stuck in my room. I wouldn't want to come out, and I had a little black and white TV, one of those old TVs, and I found it really difficult. I had a journey which led me to university, and however that was, I still arrived at university feeling a lack of confidence, not good enough. And for me, so confidence is a big thing, because I believe that if you imagine your life, your business is a house, the foundations is your confidence. That holds it all up. and it allows you to make decisions, it allows you to go and speak to someone, it allows you to say no to someone, it allows you to travel. For years and years I couldn't travel. I felt anxiety traveling, I felt scared. And in the last 10 years I realized I had separation anxiety. That's only something that I realized in the last 10 years. So this for me is something that's really important. We've talked about pen and notebook, that you can write down notes or just keep notes as we go along. So what is confidence? So confidence comes from the Latin word confidere, to have faith in yourself. If you lose faith in yourself, then you don't make the right decisions. If you lose faith in yourself, you don't stand up for yourself. If you lose faith in yourself, you don't take those chances, those risks. So with confidence, it impacts on every single element of your life, whether it be a relationship, whether it be you are making a business deal, whether you are speaking to clients and you want to upsell, whatever it is, you've got to look them in the eye and speak with confidence. What Theo talked earlier on about walking into that room, his confidence was sky high. And he gave them those packages, and they bought the package because, as I mentioned earlier on, people buy people. So when you go into a room and when you meet people, your attitude is actually energy. Attitude is energy. And Sophia had mentioned energy, and yeah, I 100% agree with her. We are 30 trillion cells in the body vibrating at a certain energy, a certain frequency. Last year, in October, the Nobel Prize for Quantum Physics proved that our thoughts are linked to energy, and everything is linked. Everything in the universe is linked. You can look at that. It's like they proved the law of attraction scientifically. And that was fascinating to see that, because the law of attraction, of course, whatever energy you put out there, it comes back. I remember saying to a client years ago, imagine that you're in a sphere which is lined with a mirror. That sphere, if you put out positive energy, that sphere will reflect positive energy back. If you put out negative energy, that sphere will reflect back negative energy. So what you put out there does come back, and that's been proven scientifically. I'm a scientist, so I like to look at these things, and when you understand that, you realize we're like a broadcasting system. And every single day, one of the questions I ask is, what energy am I broadcasting? What am I giving out right now? Because it's coming back. So your results, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, are a reflection of what you're broadcasting. So what happens? What happens to change our confidence? And I like to describe to you, just so that you know, you weren't born that way. You just developed confidence or a lack of it. So when I realized that, because for years and years, I thought I was born this way. I was born not feeling good. I'm not good enough. This is the way I am. We've all heard people say this, but it's not the way we are. We've got a clean slate as a baby, and then we're fed instructions by parents, and then we go through events in our life. These events happen in our life. There could have been a teacher saying, you're not as good as your brother. He's better than you. And then you're thinking, this must be the truth, because the teachers told me that. Or that one of your parents puts you down, and then you feel immediately not good enough. I remember we were going to Longleat, and I was in the school bus, and I think I was, 11 years old. Quite talkative, sitting at the back of the bus, and one of the teachers had said, can you all be quiet? And I didn't hear her, so I carried on talking, and she shouted my name, my surname Rahman, and she shouted it out, Rahman, shut up. And I remember feeling humiliated. I remember feeling shocked, embarrassed. And then for years and years, and I didn't know this, when somebody had mentioned my surname Rahman, David Rahman, I felt anxiety. And I was about 40. I remember somebody saying my name, and I said, why am I feeling anxiety? Why does my name feel anxiety? And I went and had work done. I worked with a coach, and I remembered that time in the bus. I'd forgotten about it. I want to let that emotion go because the memory's there. But if we have the emotion, it could potentially cripple us. So when I let go of the emotion, so when somebody says my name now, I'm all right. But for a big part of my life, I wasn't all right. So that event affected me. So our events affect us. So about 10 years ago, I developed a model which is based on CBT, which is thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. But what actually causes us to think a certain way? And that's, I termed the blueprint. We all have a blueprint. So we've all heard of operating systems. Yeah. So we've got an operating system. I call it the blueprint. So Apple users will be calling it something. Everyone else calls it Windows. So we have an operating system. And imagine that it's devoid of data, but it gathers data. And then one day we get the equivalent of a virus in there. And then we see pop-ups. We've all seen pop-ups on the screen at one time or another in our life. Our pop-ups are fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, fear of not being liked, fear of standing out, fear of feeling insignificant. All these little fears, they pop up out of nowhere and they stop us from being who we are. So I realized with my clients, wow, their blueprint. If we can change the blueprint, we change their life, we change business, career, the whole bit changes. You can't just say to someone, I want you to think positively. I want you to say, I'm amazing, I'm amazing, I'm amazing. Because as you're walking down the street, your subconscious mind will say, bullshit. Bullshit. It's gonna call you out. So your blueprint, if you can change that, everything changes. So change your blueprint, change your life. And then people say, how do I do this? How do I do this? I don't know what to do. So I just wanted to go for a couple of things today to help you change your blueprint. Just a couple of things, because there are numerous ways of doing it. But essentially, if you change your focus and if you change your habits, everything else will change. Where you put your focus, as Tony Robbins says, where focus goes, energy flows. We've all get that. Where you put your focus. There's a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, which is your primal focus. Wherever you put your focus, something appears. There's one thing that I love doing with my clients. I can ask you to do. You can then see what happens the next week. I said to my son about 6-7 months ago, he's 20. I was telling him about the reticular activating system. We're driving in the car, and I said, there's something in your brain which is linked to something out there, which we can't see, that allows you to bring things into your reality. He said, really? I said, yeah. I want you to think of a strange object. And this is exactly what I say to my clients, and it works 100% of the time. Think of an object that you perhaps won't see. And they said, all right, okay. And you had to think about it. He said, pineapple. Never see pineapples. All right, then pineapple. I said, you will see a pineapple here in the next week or so. In some form or another, it'll be on TV, magazine, real life. It'll appear in one guise or another. Within less than 48 hours, he's texting me, Dad. His grandmother, his mum's mum, had served him some food on a plate in the shape of a pineapple, literally within 2 days. And he'd never seen that plate before, and she'd just gone and bought it. That's an example. So what I want you to do right now, if you can, just for 1 minute, I want you to think of an object. I did this years ago. I live in Cardiff, so I thought of a London double-decker bus, right? Where you're going to find one in Cardiff, a London double-decker bus, right? Within the month, I was walking past John Lewis in Cardiff City Centre. There was a London double-decker bus parked outside it, doing some charity work. Couldn't believe it. It was there. And as I was walking on, I thought, WTF? Wow, it's appeared. And it's happened numerous times. So what I want you to do is to think for 1 minute, talk to the person next to you, just for 1 minute, on one strange object. I've had people saying, purple this, a purple car, or a gold limousine, and they've seen it. So can you just pair for 1 minute, just think, share it with them, one object you'd like to see, and then go looking for it. Wait for it to come to you. Oh, wow. Feel free.
Yeah, I'm starting to get nervous.
So think of an object that you could see in the next week. Think of an object that you don't normally see that you'd like to manifest in the next week. See what happens. Be open-minded to it.
Anything good family?
Oh, you know, I know what I don't know.
Okay, so where did that come from? Okay. Right. So what you focus on expands. Whatever you watch more of and you think about it, it expands. And we have a choice every single day. Every single day we have a choice, and all the science shows that our choices makes who we are. Right, so I wanted to just teach you one little habit that I do in the morning that you can do too. It's very simple, just takes you 5 minutes, but it can just change your mood. You can change your outlook and the focus first thing in the morning. And it just came to me one day. I was just walking somewhere and I thought, oh, it's about giant, okay. It's called the giant process. And it's my way of resetting my mindset every morning. And you can do this in the shower. You can do it when you're brushing your teeth. It just takes seconds. G stands for gratitude. Yeah. So gratitude, just as Sophia said, gratitude is like a superpower. It's actually looking into your life in detail. And, you know, I too wake up in the morning thinking, frick, I'm alive. This is good. This is a great start today. It's not actually taking breathing for granted. It's actually, this is good. Because if you think about it, a lot of people wake up thinking, oh no, it's Monday. Oh, I know it's Wednesday. Well, why not have a good day every day? Well, why not wake up and think, well, I am fortunate. There's a lot of people in hospital who would like to swap places with you right now. But we're here. We can walk out here. We can go make some coffee. They can't. There's a lot of people who can't breathe unaided. We can. So gratitude is something that I call it gratitude in action, which is you are actually a walking, talking gratitude machine. So just everything you're grateful for. You're sitting on the seat. You're able to sit there. It's great. You can actually stand up. Great. You can actually go and have drinking water. Great. So if we do gratitude in action, this is the way to do it. Whenever something that you enjoy happens, be grateful for it immediately. Immediately. So don't miss the opportunity, because we miss the opportunity to be grateful. We think, oh, that was nice. And we moved on. Be grateful. And gratitude is there in the heart. It's actually a physical sensation in the heart. That's where you feel gratitude. You stop thinking grateful thoughts, but you feel it there. There's an Institute of Heart Math in California, which worked out decades ago that when this and this actually work together, their electrical activity is the same. They become one. And that's called heart coherence. And when you're in a state of gratitude, you're in love with life. In love with life. Have you ever had a picnic or been at a barbecue and then 4 o'clock suddenly become 10 o'clock? And you thought, and we've all said the same thing, where did the time go? Where did it all go? because we've been in a state of gratitude, a state of love. Gratitude, great attitude, state of love. So we can do that every morning, and it just takes seconds. But I want you to think of 5 things you're grateful for right now. I'm not going to pick at anyone, but I'm going to ask you.
You asked me.
I'm going to ask you 5 things you're grateful for right now.
5, I can't.
Okay, that's okay. One thing.
I'm grateful for this coffee.
Fantastic. So the more you do this, the more you'll be able to say 5 straight away, immediately. 5 things you're grateful for right now.
Being able to bring my baby.
Yeah, brilliant.
For you being here.
Thank you, thank you. So it's because the more you do it, the more you can suddenly pick 5 straight away. You can 5 straight away. You should be able to say it. Because when my son was younger, I used to do the gratitude game in the car. It's called the gratitude game. I said, Kieran, 5 things you're grateful for right now, and you got good at it because you start to notice life. That's all it is. So that will make you feel good straight away in the morning. Straight away. Gratitude is found to be the antithesis of fear. If you're grateful, you can't feel fear at the same time. It's impossible. There's psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. So you carry on with this. By the way, this is all going to take 5 minutes. I's intentions. What is my intention for this morning? What is my intention for the next hour? Or what's my intention for the week? I's intentions. It gets your mind focused on what you intend to do. And it's an energy. Attention is when you're looking. Intention is right. That's why I intend to do. Where am I going to put my energy today? Am I going to put my energy, right, that's it, I'm going to put my energy on sales today. I'm going to put my energy on social media today. I'm going to put my energy in marketing. I'm going to put my energy on my partner. I'm going to take her for lunch. Whatever you want to do, where's my intention? So again, your focus in your mind. Great. A stands for action. What action? What one action do I have to take today that's going to make it a good day? What one action? So this will be different every day. I always say do it in the morning because that's when life starts. That's when you come out to slumber. That's when you could have had a bad dream. But you wake up, right, today, how are you going on the day? Take it. What action do I have to do? So the action, for me this morning, the action is I have to catch that freaking train at 7:04 in the morning. So I have to get up at X o'clock. So that's what I did. So what action? N stands for what am I no longer prepared to put up with? What am I no longer going to do today? So it might be, I'm not going to procrastinate today. No chance. I've got to get this done. Or I'm not going to people please like I normally do. You are fighting that negative part of your mind. You've decided enough is enough. And you can do this every day. And what am I no longer prepared to do? Because we all do it. We all let our lives drift. But if you take back life, this is like grabbing the steering wheel of life. You do it every day, every single day. It's so easy to remember. Brush your teeth. Giant process. Just do it. T stands for trust. Trust. Whether it be trust God, trust the universe, trust spirit, trust the S. Trust something, because something, in my idea, something created us. Something is always created. Trust. Because the opposite of trust is fear. I don't trust. I'm not trusting. If you trust, it's a different energy. So T is, right, I'm going to trust. I always say trust the universe. That's just my way of saying it. You might have a different way. But trust. Trust is a much better energy than not trusting. Think of someone you know who's not trusting. We all know, or might have known someone who's just doubting Thomas, who just doesn't trust anyone, anything. Because that usually comes from being hurt. When we've been hurt, let down, we felt aggrieved, it chips away at our blueprint and we stop trusting. So trust, the giant process. Hopefully this will make sense when you start it tomorrow morning. How about that? Who would want to put your hand up? Who would want to start it tomorrow morning? Yeah, fantastic. That's a good few of you. Brilliant. So the giant process is something that I do. Habits are the small decisions you make every day. It's just a small decision. If your decision you make is right, that's it. What I would do is, to save you forgetting, is just grab a post-it note tomorrow morning, put it on your mirror, wherever you're going to be, and just say, giant. That's it. Because when you wake up, you don't want to think. Who wants to think? You've just woken up from slumber. You come from delta, theta and delta. You're into beta waves now, and you can barely think. So you don't want to be thinking. What did David say? What was that word? Big? What was it? Massive? Giant. So just put it on a post-it note and save yourself. And this works, by the way, because when I work with my clients, years ago, I was wondering what's going to make it more effective for them to remember. So post-it notes. Did you know? It's in my book, post-it notes. They work, they're brilliant, because when you get out of bed, if you can see a post-it note, it will immediately jolt you. It'll wake you up without you having to wake up. It'll stop you from feeling not good enough. You know, it stopped me from not feeling good enough years and years ago. There's no way I could have spoke in front of anyone. So I had to get out of my own way and speak to people. Literally get out of my own way. You know that public speaking is the #1 phobia on the planet. Because you're up here and you are speaking, you're being judged. You know, you're going to make a mistake, you're going to look stupid, all that stuff. And the first time I ever spoke, it wasn't good. But I got over myself. And you have to repeat. You know, as Theo was saying, repeat, repetition. You've got to repeat. And it's the same in business. You've got to repeat all the boring stuff and all the stuff which makes you feel uncomfortable. Because when you do that, your confidence shoots up. This is all leading to, how am I going to be more comfortable? How am I going to be more comfortable with being uncomfortable? How am I going to take risks? People say things like, hate the gym. When you don't have confidence, hate the gym. Is hate a high or a low energy word? So just catch yourself on what sort of vocabulary you're using. Whatever vocabulary you're using is so important. If somebody says, oh, that's awful, that word is a very it's a very highly negative energy word, you know? Or it's disgusting. One of my pet hates is you're having some food and somebody says, oh, that's disgusting. Ugh. Well, that's not pleasant to hear, plus it's a highly negative energy word. And remember what I said to you about the mirror? If you're in this bubble and this is a mirror, whatever energy you're putting out there is coming back to you. You're not hurting that person, you're hurting yourself. Okay? So what can it affect? What can your mindset affect? And your confidence, diet, relationships. How many people have you heard start a diet, lose the weight, put the weight back on? They just can't seem to get it right. Why? Because when they lose the weight, they reach their golden target, there's no maintenance. And then they're back in the fridge at night. You know, they've lost weight for the wedding, and once the wedding's gone, they pile it back on. There's a reason for it. It's the mindset. Body will listen to you. Whatever you do, it'll listen to you directly. So, socially, I had huge problems over the years socializing. The amount of functions, wedding parties I missed because I was just feeling not good enough, feeling I can't. Who's going to want to talk to me? I can't say. I have nothing valuable to say. So your body and your goals. If you're not confident, you can have problems. Sarah had lost her confidence. She was doing the stuff that I'm teaching you today. She got her confidence back. Gracie, same thing. She was a huge people pleaser and procrastinator, and it was ruining her life. One of the things that ruined her, I would say, her evening was, I remember her saying to me she was part of a WhatsApp group. And she said to me, oh, David, you know, I'm part of this WhatsApp group. It's causing me so much anxiety. Every time I see it, the notification, I get my heart races. I said, well, why are you on this group? Why are you staying in there? You know what her answer was? What will happen if I leave? They're going to talk about me? What are they going to say? They're going to be my friend anymore? So she was worrying what others think. I said, it's up to you. Do you want anxiety? Do you want to suffer? Or what? Do you want to take a risk, make a decision? So she made a decision, and she just left the group. And when I saw her a month later, I'd said, what happened? Nothing. I feel really good. Are they still your friends? Yes. Well, I feel really calm in the evening now. There you go. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of doing stuff because of our lack of confidence. So why do we develop bad habits? Why do we develop habits? We develop bad habits for a reason. There's an emotional reason behind it. Laziness, boredom, stress, coping. People say I can barely cope with life. I've got 3 kids, got a business. The weather's not so great. I need a holiday. Coping with life. And fear. Fear itself. Fear comes from a part of the brain called the amygdala. This little bad boy actually makes us feel scared. Really scared. And it's been around for a long time since we were here on this planet. It's evolved. And it was originally programmed just to protect us, a protective mechanism for the elements and from wild animals and all that. But these days, it does protect us, of course, because it needs to. We need to look left and right when we're crossing the road, or we'll get run down. So we need to be careful, but it overprotects us. It's the reason why we overthink. I remember reading a book with Deepak Chopra's book, Brain. It was called something to do with brain. And he was talking about 2/3 of the fibers that compose that little structure are actually looking for negative thoughts. So we go into a room and we might say, is anybody going to like us in here? Are we going to be judged? That part of the brain is always active. I mentioned this earlier on. We present the personality to the world. It's important for us to know we present this personality to this world when we're not coping. But if you are not coping, you're not helping yourself. If you're not helping yourself, so help yourself. I'm going to ask some questions, so just think about these questions now. And they're personal to you, the answers. Do you frequently apologize to yourself, even if you didn't do anything wrong? Do you avoid reaching out to potential leads? So this is like new customers, meeting new people, networking, things like that. Do you feel you let yourself down? Do you have the habit of overthinking things? Do you ever feel like you need to be in control all the time? So are there any controllers in this room? Do you ever self-sabotage business opportunities? Do you ever devalue yourself? Do you ever catch yourself overeating at night when you know you shouldn't? Yeah, it's quite common. Yes. Yes. I do that. Yeah. Do you ever find yourself procrastinating? Do you ever find yourself procrastinating? It's just a self-awareness part of this session, just for you to be aware. No one's pointing fingers, but I just want you to know, because you can then look yourself in the mirror and say, right, I need to work on that. I need to work on that. Maybe there's the gap in your confidence. Maybe there's a gap in your confidence. So our confidence is related to our habits. And our habits are related to our confidence. Habits are a specific set of instructions there to keep us automatically on track every day, so we don't have to think about that. So we can do other stuff. So we have good habits and bad habits. The bad habits are very easy to keep, easier than good habits. Really, with good habits, you have to think about them. And we can really get out of good habits. You mentioned earlier on about the 5 wins. You used to do that before. And you even said, I don't know when I got out of it, you know, it happens. There was an interesting article that I read a few years ago. It was about researchers at Duke University. Habits account for about 40% of our behaviors. At least 40% of your behaviors on a given day are habitual. You don't know you're doing them because they're automatic. You say, oh, that's just me. That's just me. We don't actually know what they're doing them. It's interesting that our environment affects who we are. You know, we may have a favourite seat where we sit in the lounge every night and just the remote control right there, we feel comfortable, you know, because that's our environment. Towards the end of the Vietnam War, the government was shocked, the US government was shocked. They found out that about 20% of the American soldiers in Vietnam, these are actually not Vietnam soldiers, but American soldiers in Vietnam, 20% of them were addicted to heroin. They were out there as a coping mechanism, they were addicted to heroin. So the US government was very, very scared. They were scared because they wondered, these guys aren't coming back now, we've lost the war, they're coming back, and 20% of them, there's going to be a drug problem in the US. Added to the existing drug problem, there's going to be a problem. And they were really, really worried. What happened in the next year shocked them. Only 5% of that 20% remain addicted after a year. They couldn't believe it. They came home and 95% of the 20% they were not interested in heroin anymore. It was fascinating that your environment makes your bad habits easier and your good habits harder, your environment. So where you sit, for example, in the evening, as I mentioned, in your lounge can affect the way you think. If you keep doing the same things every day, it can affect, in the same place, it can affect the way you think. Choosing a substitute for your bad habit and having an action plan you need to have a plan ahead of the time of how you will respond when you face the stress or boredom that prompts your bad habit. And that includes you cutting out as many triggers as possible. As many triggers as possible. So if you find enough, for example, in work, in your office, you're not doing what you want to do, you can change your office around. You can actually do something as simple as changing where you sit, changing your desk position, doing something which is going to disrupt your normal thinking process. Because when you get, it's called anchoring, when you get in a position where you're doing the same thing every day, you become anchored to that position. Yeah? So never work where you eat. Never in the dining room, never work in the dining room where you're going to eat. Or never take your laptop into bed. That's for sleeping, isn't it? One of the things of the bed is sleeping. Not being on the laptop. So you've got to think about where's your mind going? Cut out as many triggers as possible. So I want to give you just a couple of, I think I've got five ways just to help you improve your habits, change your habits. Obviously, one of the habits that, if you can, is try the giant process every morning, just to change the way you feel about yourself. Change your environment. Change your environment. See what you can do. Change where you work, change the position where you work, change your chair, do something. Do something that could be as small as changing your chair, change your seat, put a cushion, put some music in the background, do something, put some plants in. If that's going to change who you're being, your results will change. Because you really have to disrupt your thinking. Disruption of thinking is not just standing there, jumping up and down, screaming, or shouting in the car. It's doing the little things, subtle things like this. What I've seen is when people do this, they change. They can't help but change. Bob Proctor was once asked, what's the fastest way to change? And he said, change your clothes. Just start wearing different clothes. Just change who you are being. Yeah? I saw this sign there. It was like, I was coming out of the station today, and this sign, it was like one of these LED, LCD signs, whatever, it says, be it, ... And I just looked at that, yes. You know, be, as we mentioned earlier on, they mentioned, be who you have to be to become, you know, who do I need to become to get that level of success? You've got to be someone different. You have to be different. I know, Theo, if you look back 10 years ago, you're a different beast, a different person altogether. If you talk to Theo from 10 years ago, you'll go, I don't know him. And Theo from 10 years ago would probably be scared of you because you're a different person. I'm a different person. If you look back, you've evolved. It's called evolution. You've evolved. We have to evolve. So if you're not liking where you are, you want more, you have to evolve. So you have to become someone different. Get together with somebody, an accountability buddy. Have someone you trust, who's in the adventure with you, or someone a support, someone a mentor, someone who's going to hold you accountable. There's nothing better than accountability and having a deadline. Having someone watch over you, because you know that someone's got your back as well. And we'll often do something for someone else quicker than we do it for ourselves. Surround yourself with people who live the way you want to live. And, you know, as Phil was talking about earlier on, we're talking about you've got to be surrounding yourself with people who energize you, who make you feel, yes, I want to do this, who support you, who give you that confidence. Even when you have a bad day, you're feeling good. You're feeling good. You're being supported. Yes, because we'll have doubts. We'll have doubts. It's normal to have doubts. If you're not, we talked about imposter syndrome earlier on, but we're human beings. We have doubts. Of course we do. But it's what we do with them. Do we bow down to them, or do we keep on moving forward? So surround yourself with the people. So, friends. There's certain friends, I'm sure, you don't want to talk to them about business because they don't understand about entrepreneurship, and they may poo-poo it, it might upset you, and you get angry, annoyed, you get an argument, so you have to limit your time with them with regards to talking about business. There's certain things that you can do to protect yourself. Visualize your success. Visualize yourself succeeding. So in the break, I was talking to Sophia, and she was talking about the script earlier on, and it's very true. It's something that I've done, I teach people. If you script your life, even if you just see your goals every day, if you visualize what you're going to do, if you write it down, there are many ways of doing it. If you're not a writer, then sit back in the chair. Sometimes, I remember teaching a client this years ago. She wanted to visualize. It was nothing to do with business, but she wanted to travel, and she was scared. She had fears. So I said, right, okay, Anita, her name was Anita. Sit back in the chair, and every night I just want you to, twice a day if you can, just look at the ceiling. Because if you notice when we visualize, where do we look? Yeah? We never look down when we're visualizing. We look down when we're feeling. Yeah? But the brain works this when we're visualizing. So if you ask anybody, how's your holiday? How's the party last night? They'll always look up. They'll say, oh yeah, it was great, yeah. And they look up. So we picture looking up. So this is a tip for you guys. Sit back in a chair and then just look up and visualize. If you can do this every day, visualize a scene that you'd like to see. Visualize being at the final of your favorite football team in the FA Cup, or visualize yourself on holiday, walking the beach with your partner. Visualize that deal that you really want working out. Visualize it. Just visualize and see it, but also feel it. Feel the happiness. So visualization. That will keep you on track. Visualization. Stacking good habits. What do you think I mean by stacking good habits? Stacking good habits could be something like, right, you want to learn something, you want to listen to a podcast, you do the ironing. You hate ironing, you're going to do it, and you can listen and learn at the same time. That's stacking. Yeah? Or you could be running somewhere, you think, right, I want to exercise, I'm going to go running, I'm going to listen to an audiobook. That's stacking. So it's doing two activities, but you are both learning and it's improving your way of life simultaneously. You can stack. So stacking has been proven. I mean, there's a great book on habits, James Clear, called Atomic Habits. Everybody, yeah, it's called Atomic Habits. A great book to read on habit formation. So self-awareness, this is something that I want you to have a look at, if you could. When does your bad habit actually happen? So think of a bad habit. When does it actually happen? How many times do you do it every day? Where are you? Who are you with? There could be somebody who actually propagates your bad habits. What triggers the behavior and causes it to start? We need to think about that. What triggers the behavior and causes it to start? Sonia Lubinersky wrote the book The How of Happiness, and she studied thousands of people, and what she found out was there were 3 reasons that make people happy. Number 1, 50% of your happiness is genetic. There's something in there which codes for proteins, your genes, and this code for hormones, and it gives you a sustained level of happiness. And most people are about the same. That's 50%. Found out that 10% of your happiness is the toys. What do you think I mean by the toys?
Materialistic stuff.
Materialistic, yes. So your money, car, house, holidays, all that. It's only 10%. Only 10% of your happiness is reliant on the things that we think should make us happy. What do you think the 40% was? Choice. 40% is the choice you make every day. How you decide to live your day. Who do you decide to become the choice? Our choices of what we decide. If you're going to stay in bed and hide from the world, that's not a great choice. Unless you fix what's causing you to stay in bed. So choice, she found out that choice is 40% of your happiness. Well, you've got control over that. You don't have control over your genes. You've got control over that directly. Old habits and new habits. So when we do that, we stack one habit, we can replace one habit with another. So imagine a habit to be a record. And I was around when the records were out. I love those records. But put another record on top, you put the stylus on, you will start having a different tune. So you can replace one habit with another. Habit installation takes about 66 to 100 days, University College London. So I'm going to finish off with, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, which is where we are today. Yeah? That's where we are today. Go together. If you want to fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So we need people. We need people. You need good friends. You need a support network. It's like what Grant's arranged today. Fabulous. You need those mentors. You need someone who's going to call you out. You can't be surrounded by yes people. You've got to be surrounded by people who want your best and see your vision, your dream. As Theo was saying, and I totally agree. When you have confidence, when you go into a dark room, it is like shining a light, and you can see more of the room, which is your vision. That's your dream. That's what you want. You've got to be able to stand up and go into that room. And sometimes that takes balls to go in there because you're fighting your fears. So I'm going to finish off now. Last slide. So I mentioned to Grant that I'm happy to do a 30-minute complimentary. It's called a gap analysis session. So there's only limited numbers. I think there's a booking page, isn't it, on the app?
So at the end of this session, there'll be an app that you can download, guys, and people that are in the audience should have a QR code on the back of their agenda, and there'll be a booking slot in there.
So if anybody wanted help, it's about 20 minutes, and then 10 minutes I can give you a review of exactly where you would best put your focus on. If you just want to put the shit on the table, we'll then look at it and then decide this is the way forward. Directly, somebody asked me about my book earlier, and there's my book. It's called Let It Go, which is I wrote a couple of years ago, and it was all about the rucksack, what's in there, and how to let that go.
I've got it.
It's a great book.
It's a great book.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So if anybody wants to discreetly contact me, then it's hello@mind.coach, just 3 words.
No, I want a book.
So thank you very much for listening, and does anybody want to ask any questions about what I went through just now? We are on a schedule. Any questions or confidence?
I've taken a lot from that earlier. One of the things I'm listening, most people listen, always feel like doing someone else, and that's how my brain is a million miles an hour. But we, in our membership, offer people 2 chances to come. And then we say, look, it's a membership, and you need to be a member. So I've just refunded 4 people. Turn them away. Because, like you said, be confident of yourself.
Yeah.
I don't need your money,
Yes.
and all you're doing is deflating what my members are paying for by keep coming.
Yes.
I've given you a chance, it's great, you're welcome to be a member,
Yes.
but you need to sign up and join.
100%. I totally agree with you there. I'm the same. I have to turn people away if they're not right for me.
Yeah.
I know some really good counsellors. You can go see a counsellor. I'm a coach, not a counsellor. Or you're going to need therapy. It's not me either. You're going to have to get therapy, and it's serious stuff, because they say, "Oh no, come see us." No, I'm a coach. A, B, C. A is where your stuff is. Where B, I can help you go to C. But if you need to deal with that stuff, you're going to have to be counselled. If you're grieving, I can't help you with that. I remember somebody came to a workshop like this years ago, and she was going to start crying at half time and said, "David, I don't want to be here. I don't need you." All right, I said. She said, I've got divorced 3 months ago. I can't handle this. It's true. She needed a counsellor. She didn't need a coach. So we need. If you need help, then go and get help. That's the investment for yourself. Go and get help. Read a book, podcast, see a professional. But hopefully from today, you'll know where you are. You'll get some semblance of self-awareness today to know where you are on your journey, because it's not a cliche. It's a journey. It really is, from when you were born to the ultimate destination. So, any other questions at all? Don't be shy.
I've got a question or something that I want to question you about.
Sure.
And it's something that I'm fascinated by, is the power of building habits. And you just touched on it in that presentation about the plasticity of the brain.
Yeah.
And I think this is really important to emphasise to entrepreneurs, because every successful business is built on the foundation of the right habits. But most people, and well, I think in fact all people are guilty of this to a certain extent, don't follow through on those habits for long enough to make them a habit. And you said it was between, was it 66 and 100 days?
Yeah.
So if we think about all the repeatable tasks that we do in our business that are going to be uncomfortable to start with, and every business will have a different set of tasks, but I'll pick on the one that we use all the time, which is picking up the phone and reaching out to prospects. Okay, so a lot of businesses, this is really beneficial to do, but making that habit is a grind. It's an absolute grind, and most people will give up saying it doesn't work before they've done it for long enough. And that's just one example of 100 different things that we need to do in a business. 66 days is a bloody long time to do something over and over again. But I remember the analogy you used, start brushing your teeth. We get up in the morning, we don't have to think about brushing our teeth anymore, hopefully. Or when we go to bed at night, we don't think about it. It's a habit because it was drilled into us. We need to use that knowledge to understand, especially when you pass the age of 25. If you're younger than 25, by the way, it doesn't take as long because your brain has more plasticity in it. So you've got to identify the things that you need to do in order to forge your business and do them for at least 66 days to make them habit. But even then, it can take longer than that. And we touched on that earlier. That habit that I had, I'd been doing that for a number of years, and still somehow it dropped off. I didn't notice. But it really helped me when you told me that. When you told me about the way the brain works. And you know, because you blame yourself, don't you? You think, yeah, why can't I keep this up? why do I have to still work so hard to make this task, you know, second nature? It's what goes on up here, you know.
Our brain is hardwired to be.
I was going to say, on what you said, it's absolutely 100% correct, because at the end of the day, you've got to keep on going. This is how I perceive things, because it took me how many years to get to where I needed to get to before it happening? If you carry on, if you believe in yourself and you just carry on, the law of averages, something will land, but if you stop, it's never going to happen. So if you believe and just carry on, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It could take a week, 2 weeks, a year, 5 years. If you carry on, one day something will hit. And that's how I use it in my own. And that's what happened with my own story. So I think if anything can be inspiring, is just don't stop, because one day your dreams will come true.
Yeah.
Simple.
Spectacular.
I think one thing is like that was a good question, a very good question, and the answer is really good as well. I think it's like there's things in my mind, like we've been talking about the persistence and going for it and just doing that. But I think it's the discipline in other things, and I think the word discipline is the thing.
Great word, isn't it?
And even with me, when I say, if you've got a vision, you just go for it. Some people just have to just go for it. But I think it's just like my question is this, how do you build the discipline on the things that you don't want to do? Because I love business, so I will graft my arse off for it, but sometimes you say, go to the gym, I'll smash it for 30 days, and I'll be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I don't necessarily want to go anymore. But some of those things pop up in business and in life that you need to do. How is it that you build the grooves of discipline, like showing up, you know, you don't want to, of the things that you don't like? You could say business, I like business, I love business, so I'll keep on doing it. But for some other things...
Do you remember I talked about the giant?
Yeah. That's what I was writing on my phone.
So N, it is no longer prepared to put up with, N, or non-negotiable, which is what is non-negotiable for me, right? So for me, exercise is non-negotiable. I've got to do it because health-wise, if your health is at a risk, you've got to do it. We all right for time?
It's 5 o'clock now, isn't it?
Yeah, I need to check. You carry on, I'll just check.
Non-negotiable. What in my life is non-negotiable has to be non-negotiable. You have to make it so important, non-negotiable. You know, so otherwise it becomes just a buy. It becomes something you resent. It's got to be something that I've got to do this. You know, I've got to buy my flowers for my wife once a month.
Is he there?
I want to. It's non-negotiable. So think in order to maintain and sustain a habit, what has to be so important that it's life-changing if I don't have it. It's got to be otherwise you'll just let it go.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, we're just, sorry about that, guys. Thanks, David. I think we're just waiting for our guests, so can we give David a round of applause? Okay, so let me, don't want to see the double, we're getting double vision here, so I'm just going to tweak it. Let's see. Sorry guys, I need to just try and turn the camera off. I can't find my mouse. You see the mouse on there?
Yes, sir.
Or is that on the right side?
Ah, there it is. I couldn't see. There you go, turn that. Okay, so we're waiting for our guest to turn up. Should be on here in a sec. Is he?
Just messaging me, he's coming.
He's coming now. He's coming now. So Mr. Greg Lassiter is about to join us. Now, this guy is, talk about a serial entrepreneur. I think that is, it's almost like an understatement for the kind of maniacal approach to business that this guy takes. He's got businesses in pretty much every industry you can think of. So Grex Jet is kind of, I would say, the public-facing business that most people will know him for, which is a private jet company that helps entrepreneurs travel across the States and holiday in Europe. And he's got a fleet of planes.
He's having issues trying to get on.
He's having issues trying to get on. He's not a big Google Meet user. But I did get him on here a minute ago, well, just before, so he will be coming. He's got businesses. He owns his own bank. He's got a publishing company, which I'll be talking about in a bit more detail. He's got a yacht charter business. He's got a business that puts satellites into space. He's got an aviation business that does airplane testing. The list literally goes on and on and on. Radio station. He's an actor. He's a musician. Honestly, he's prolific. Doesn't quite cover it. And I was lucky enough to be introduced to him through the Number One Club, and through Sophia, who's known him for many, many years now. And as part of the Number One Club International, which is the private members club, we actually got to know him because he was going to be taking part in one of our events. And as a result of that collaboration, we've ended up doing some business together. And Sophia now works with him extensively on many different projects, and he's introduced to all sorts of different jobs and different industries. And as a coach and a mentor, he is second to none. So, without further ado, how are we looking?
He's just saying I have to use the other laptop.
All right, I'm getting second-hand information. There you go. So he should be here any second. He's having to jump on a laptop because this doesn't work on his phone. But he will be here, guys. He will be here. What's he saying? He's a very busy guy. So we're privileged to. He's based in New York, by the way. So he's 5 hours behind us at the moment.
Textbook, okay. Do you need it?
I was talking to him on here before the show. He knows how to do it.
Everything was fine.
Yeah,
Text.
do you want to just put him on? We could just stick him on a WhatsApp.
On a WhatsApp, if that's okay.
Yeah, can we use your phone?
Yes.
Do you want to just put him on a WhatsApp? We'll do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, let me just do it now. Do you want to call him? 1 minute.
If you do him on a video WhatsApp,
Right. Okay. Oh, I'm not calling
and then
him Mark.
I'll
Sorry.
use your phone.
Sorry.
And if I can use your phone, Sophia, that would be awesome because my phone's being used to
Let's get him
record.
on. Bear with me.
Okay, it'll be worth the wait, I promise you.
He will.
Can you WhatsApp him for the screen? That really gets technical.
Here we go.
No. Stay there. Greg, we'll do it on WhatsApp. It's fine. So you don't have to stress over it. Let me.
It's coming. The tension is palpable.
Everybody's waiting.
Oh, I'm not waiting.
Oh, he said, let me help, please.
He's coming.
He said,
Okay.
He's
He's
coming.
coming. How would you deal with this one, David?
This is not helpful.
I'll see them all.
Oh, bless them.
I'm waiting for it to ping up any second. It'll be coming in.
He will be so apologetic. Seriously. He will be so apologetic. Oh, my goodness.
It's coming. If anybody wants to look up Grex, Grex, Jet, JET.com, it's got a fantastic website. So what I'm going to do, whilst we wait for him, I'm going to talk a little bit about the collaboration that. Yeah, is it coming through?
Yeah, well, I'm going to do it on here, so we'll just do it on. You just said call again, so here we go.
There we go.
Great.
It's coming through again. Dan. I think we're going to do the. What I'm going to do, I'm going to
Just
hold
do it
the
on
phone up to the video, and I'm hoping everybody will be able to hear it.
Will it work through that? There you go.
You guys have no idea. I got 4 laptops here, guys. I apologize. I apologize. It's the Yankee that's always screwing it up. I apologize.
Right, I'm going to put you on loudspeaker, mate. Is that as loud as it goes?
How's everybody? You guys hear me?
I don't think I'm going to be. Let me see what I'm doing here, Greg. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can. I'm going to have to improvise a bit here. Bear with me.
Sorry about that, guys. Okay, no problem.
In fact, I tell you what, I'm not going to be able to do it through the TV. I'm going to do it this way. I'll do it on here so the audience can see you, and you guys are going to have to just imagine because I can't do it. I can't do it. Sorry, guys. So, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we got. So you're not in tech, are you?
No, you know what? Here's the thing. I have. Hold on. I'm trying to log in. Hold on. I'm trying to log in.
Try and do it, Greg.
Yeah, you're.
Please.
Google. I mean, we were working, but you're on a different laptop earlier on, weren't you?
Okay. Yeah, I was on. That's what I'm trying to get back to now. Hold on. Okay, am I here? No, I'm not there. Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
We can edit all of this, guys. It's fine. It's not a problem.
Hold on, Grex Jet. Okay, hold on.
Good website, by the way.
Are you having a look?
Yeah.
GrexJet.com. It's a beauty. It is a beauty. We've got a few more.
I wonder who did that. Why is it working? It worked earlier. Hold on.
Yeah, we were having a chat earlier. Do you know what? This is what I imagined would happen.
Yeah,
I had a premonition, not because of Greg. It's because of our tech. I've made it too tricky.
Hold on a second. Let me do this. Let me see what happened to. How come I can't get this? Hold on. Log in.
Just use the link on the phone. Has he got the link on the phone?
Okay, quick. Hold on 1 second. Let me try this. How come it's not taking me there? Hold on. It took me there this morning.
It did?
Yeah, because I saw you this morning, right? I saw you this morning.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. Let's try this again. Office 365.
Let me.
Can you send a Zoom link, Grant?
No, I can't say anything else. So I promise you, if I could, I would.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Okay, signed up. Okay, now I need to sign back in again. Hold on. Let me see this. Open website. 365 sign in. What the hell? Sign in a different account. Okay, let's do that. Sign in a different account. Okay. Hold on.
10 minutes, we'll be fine.
This is not, hold on, this is not working. It was working earlier.
I'm not techie for
It is the WhatsApp on the desktop.
Actually, yeah.
Yes, it just needs to
Greg,
Yes, sir.
I might have an idea. Let me try this. This might work.
Yes!
Right, Greg,
Yes, we've got you, Greg.
I've got you.
Yay!
Look at that. I just had a moment of clarity thinking, I wonder if this would work. And it does. Look at that. There you go. We've got a little room of people. Now, the question is, can I get the audio to work? Bear with me. Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't get the audio to work. So what we're going to have to do is, let me just see if I can figure this one out. Yeah, I don't know where it's not coming through that. It's coming through this.
Have you got WhatsApp on your laptop?
WhatsApp, Greg?
Can you use your laptop?
WhatsApp on the desktop.
It would give a mirror image. Not to worry. Right then, what I'll do is that working okay? Can you hear him online?
Yeah, you can.
Fantastic. Right, do you know what, Greg? It's actually working, mate. It's actually working. Listen, I'm glad this is going to be worth it. Don't worry. Do you know what? Yeah, I just had a feeling this would go, and just because you've not used Google Meet before, but not to worry. This is I don't know if you can see it, but you are actually on the tip. You look gorgeous, mate. You look gorgeous. So, Greg, listen, I've been really looking forward to this chat because we've been working together for a little bit now, but we don't really know each other's background that much, and I love a good old-fashioned entrepreneurial interview. And you obviously have got a huge background in entrepreneurship. A little bit. Yeah. But what I don't really know about how you got started as a business person. I'd love to hear the story. You know, did you always know you were going to be an entrepreneur, or what happened right at the beginning?
Ever since I was 9, when only because Halloween was my biggest holiday for me. Why? Because I would go out and grab bags of candy from trick or treating, and we grew up in a church, so I would go to church on Sunday and sit in the back of the church and sell candy. And my mom and dad thought I was a heathen for doing that, but that's how I got started. But my father was in the military. I'm a military brat, and my dad's boss used to come over to our house for dinner, and I would sit around dinner and listening to my dad and his boss, and I was like, "Hey, Dad, you're smarter than your boss. Why is he your boss?" He goes, "Son, you're gonna understand the politics," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm never gonna be anybody's boss. I'm never gonna work for anybody that I'm smarter than." So that basically started. I started feeling it out then, and then I went to college at Boston University, and when I got out of Boston University, I wanted to become a stockbroker because I always wanted to be my own boss. So I took a job. I was the first African American at Merrill Lynch.
Oh, really?
So when I got there, I looked around. I'm like, who is the most successful person in here? And this guy's like, you know how these old guys are like, you youngin, how many times have you heard that? So my first paycheck out of college, I graduated in May. My first paycheck was the end of June, was $35,200. Because, as a stockbroker, you always had to cold call, and everybody is so deathly afraid of cold calling. And that was always been one thing I love to do, is cold call, because you never know. I don't take rejection personally, so you never know who's on the other side, And my goal was, in 18 hours, I dialed 967 people and talked to 500. But being a stockbroker, I made some massive connections, like investors. So I was a stockbroker for about 3 years and made a ton of money. And I got started, and I'm like, I want to do real estate. So I moved back to DC, where I'm originally from, and started doing real estate, selling and flipping houses. But the ironic thing is, since I was so young, nobody would give me capital. So I'm like, okay, how am I going to do this without investing my own capital? But I ended up investing my own capital, and that's why I learned control your whole infrastructure. So since no one would give me money, so I said, you know what? I'm going to start a mortgage company. I took my money, started a mortgage company. I went to law school, became a lawyer, got 2 MBAs, and said, look, I'm going to start a settlement company and an appraisal company, and had different people run them. So therefore, I borrowed money from myself, settled in my own company, and sold it in my own company. So I did that for, I don't know, probably like 5 or 10 years, because I'm a lot older than all you guys. I'm real old, so you're So I did that, and I decided that from that point on, whatever I do, I was going to control everything around me without going outside my circle. And, make a long story short, here I am, 20-something companies later, doing 20 different things. You guys know how Sophia, you know, I love Sophia because she knows she can put up with my insanity. Every day, I'm like, we'll have, like, you and Grant, you and I, we'll have 20 different conversations in like 5 minutes. And everybody's like, Greg, are you okay? You know, are you crazy? And people don't understand. When they call poor people, they call them weird. They call rich people eccentric. So, but as you know, Grant, you know, I am thankful to have you and Sophia because I have 20 companies, about 20 companies, 222 employees in 4 countries. So, you know, thanks to you, definitely thanks to Sophia, because Sophia is now running most of my companies, pretty much all of them. The holding company, you know, the holding company is the company that is the parent company for all the other companies, like a satellite company. I'm a government contractor, radio station, TV station. What else do I have? Publishing companies.
Yeah, don't forget the publishing.
Company. The publishing, a bank in the Caribbean, and that's a whole nother story. Because banks, when you in the U.S., there's so many regulations and banks. So I decided when I was like, I don't know, 20, 25, I wanted to own my own bank, right? So I met some offshore people, and they were like, you know what? For $1 million, you can buy a bank charter. And I'm like, okay, easier said than done. But I put it together. Now it's private banking, and my only customer is my company. Now people say, well, how do you make money? Well, how do you make money being your own customer? Well, in America, when banks close at the end of a day, they have to have a certain amount of cash on hand. And if they don't, they have to go out onto the market and borrow it. Well, I'm on that list. It's called overnight repos. I'm on that list where banks borrow from me and pay me back this crazy amount of percentage every day. You do it 5 days a week. So that's how we fund our bank.
I'm starting to get a bit of an understanding since I've been working with you, how you basically, because you want to control kind of the whole process, you basically end up, you know, forming companies that. So I know we were talking about a deal a few weeks ago, and you ended up setting up a lawyer's company to, because you don't want to pay the lawyers, so you set up your own.
You know what? See, the crazy thing, because, you know, I'm always wanting, because all the deals I do throughout the year, I always have my lawyers involved in it. Like last year, I paid my lawyers and they've been with me for 28, 30 years. I paid them. I'm looking at the bill. I'm like, I paid these guys a lot of money. So, and now what's crazy is that I got outside lawyers to make sure my lawyers are doing the right thing. So, little paranoid maybe, just a little bit. But so, and the funny thing is, I've been toying with this for a long time because I have, you know, being a lawyer, I'm not a bar lawyer. I went to law school, graduated from Georgetown. I said, you know what? In the state of New York, I can be the CEO of a law firm, but my name can't be on the door. So I said, you know what? I pulled a managing partner from the 3rd largest law firm in New York and have him come work for me. And now we have our own law firm.
That's legendary.
But you know what's crazy? As you know, I tell people, because of Grant and because of Sophia, we actually work 24 hours a day, because when you're asleep, I'm working. And when I'm working, when I'm asleep, you're working. So I kind of got the best of both worlds.
That's it. 24/7, baby.
24/7, baby. That's what it, but when I grow up, Grant, I truly want to be like you and Sophia. Truly. I want to be
it's never going to happen. It's never going to grow up.
I want to be like
Peter Pan.
Good looking and rich.
So there's something I want to go back to, because I know there's people that will think that I prompted you when you told me about the cold calling. It's something I bang on about all the time. It's about cold calling, and that was one of the first things you did when you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and ultimately, you know, any super successful entrepreneur, and we've never had this conversation, but I'm.
No, we haven't.
Let me ask you, do you consider yourself more of a business person or more of a salesperson?
That's a good question. Well, I have to say this. I'm a black man in America. I'm always selling. I always have to sell myself on something. So I think I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, it's Emma.
I knew that was going to happen. Don't worry about it.
Emma the dog.
What? Emma the dog. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. I consider myself a little bit of both. Because, you know, quiet, Emma. I apologize, guys. Emma's right here with me. I'm a little bit of both because, you know, selling I like, when I was a stockbroker, my motto was, if you can convince someone on the phone that you've never met and you sell them on an intangible item, an item that you can't touch or feel, one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And
so
cold calling to me was like, it was always, I get excited. I'm like, hey, is this going to be one? And even if you don't like cold calling, if you do enough of it, it's the plus, it's the what is it? You know, you got to play the numbers, you know, you play the numbers, it's going to happen for you.
Yeah.
But most people take rejection personally. And that's why they're definitely afraid of cold calling. You know, I am definitely not afraid of cold calling. I'm not afraid too much of anything. Sophia and you, that's all that may be. But other than that, no, I'm not afraid of anything.
We're all scared of Sophia.
Oh, my gosh. When Sophia calls you up and goes, hey, Greg, this is what, Greg? I'm like, oh, damn, what did I do now? You know? No. But
So
to be successful, successful people, somebody asked me the other day, do I have a routine? No. I don't. The only routine, if I had to say I had one, is that I give myself an hour a day just to exist. You know, not think about it. That's my yoga time. But a routine becomes monotonous. You know, as you know, every day, and then Sophia know, every day, Greg Lassiter got some kind of issue. You know, so and I embrace it, and you know, embracing, okay, what's going to happen today, and it's not, oh God, what's going to happen today. I embrace it because every day is a challenge. You know, and I love it. You know, I love it. I love challenges. So, you know.
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm really grateful you made the time for this, because, like you say, you know, there's not a day goes by that there aren't challenges. When you've got that many businesses,
Okay.
you get pulled from pillar to post. You know, and
Right.
so there's
and you guys hear the stories. You guys hear the crazy stories every day of what I'm going through.
It is nuts. So something I'm really interested to find out about is that anybody wants to look Greg up, he is prolific on Facebook. Now,
Social media, pretty much.
yeah, so you are like always posting on Facebook. And like a lot of super successful people think, how the hell do you find the time? And I saw something that you talked about, saying that you treat Facebook a bit like your journal.
A live journal.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, because growing up, I wrote a book called How I Made It. 695 pages, published through Simon Schuster, the one that we're publishing our book through.
Yeah.
And I made a deal with them that I wanted to sell my own book, and they got none of my royalties. So you have to buy the book directly from me. So what I did was, all my life, I kept a journal of my life. And I would do it every night when I come home. And then got to be, when I come home, I got to be too tired to do that. So I said, you know what? Social media, because I have my phone, and I'm either flying or whatever I'm doing, I can my thoughts on my social media. And I tell people, it's like, you know what, guys, my rants are just, it's a live journal for me. You know, as it happens, and the thing of it is, if you record something while it happens, you're right there. Instead of getting home or wherever it is at the end of the day, going, okay, what happened? And that the enthusiasm and is not there. You know, so that's why you always hear me as I'm going, sitting in the airplane, waiting to take off. I'm like, let me do this. And my co-pilot's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got this, you know. So yeah, it's just been my whole social media, you know, and some of the things I do on social media, like I always wanted to be, you know, I always wanted to sing, right? So I can't sing worth crap, but I opened up a record business, a record label, and learned the management part of it, and I play violin and piano. So TikTok, as you know, I started playing around on TikTok. Next thing you know, it grew into 7 million views in less than a year. And next thing you know, I got Warby Parker as a sponsor, Monster Energy drink as a sponsor. And I'm like, you want to sponsor me because I'm lip syncing? Really? Okay, I'll take your money. All right, I'll do that. And I started this community called Grown Folks Music with a Gay.
And anybody gets to see that. It's I didn't know what to make of it when I first saw it. It's crazy. It's great. He dresses himself up. He gets a guitar and he'll lip sync to all these. I'm thinking, is that Greg singing? What a voice!
Some of it, not all of it. Some of it, the majority of it. Yeah. But the thing of it is, you know, and I'm like, my daughter used to say, "Dad, you're too old to be." And I'm like, are you getting paid to do this? I am. So step back. You know, and that's the thing. I tell people all the time, don't concentrate on the money. Because, you know, all my life, when I was growing up, I was like, I want $1 million. I want to be a millionaire. And after I got out of college, I think for the next 5 years, I said, December 31st, every year, I want to have $1 million in the bank. And December 31st would come out, I have $998,000 in the bank, but I'll have $10,000 in my pocket. That's still not $1 million. So one of my mentors told me, he goes, you're doing the wrong thing. I'm like, what is that? He goes, you're chasing money. You can't catch money. Money's a ghost. Do what you love, and the money will come. And you got to trust yourself. Because think about this. If you are working for someone, and they're paying you a great wage, how much money are you making for them? You know? Yeah. And I look at it like this, you know, the difference between, I think, an entrepreneur and a non-entrepreneur is trusting yourself and going out taking a chance. You take a chance, and then taking a chance means you got to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself to know that I don't ever have a bad day. Some days are better than others, but never a bad day, because I don't want to sound like a cliche, and I live by this. The difference between a good day and a bad day is my attitude. So, you know, you've seen on my Facebook, you know what, I need to stop. I'm having a real challenging day. I need to hit reset. And I do. I mean, people think, oh, this person pissed me off, or this person, no one can make you have a bad day unless you allow it. So,
yeah,
you
control it.
You control it. Yeah.
You do. So I really appreciate your time, mate. Just to wrap things up, I want to talk a little bit about your publishing business. So Grex Publishing. I'm wondering whether we might get a live appearance from the star of the show.
Wait, she's laying here. I came home specifically to do this, but she's laying here on the couch watching me like she's tired, like she's been to work all day. You know, I work for her kibbles. No, Grex Publishing, how did it come about? Well, I said to Sophia, I said, you know what? I want to write a book. I want to do a book about Emma. And this is one thing about our wonderful Sophia. Like, I'll bounce ideas off of her. And next thing you know, Sophia's like, it's done. I'm like, what's done? We go, Greg, we'll go back and forth. Next, we'll go back and forth. And we wrote a book. Now, how are we going to do this? Wait, let's get our other partner, Grant, to help us. I'm like, great idea. So I said, so we got the book together, and I'm like, okay, you know what, guys? Let's start a publishing company.
Obviously.
And I know I drive Sophia crazy, because I'm like, you know what, guys? I want to start this company. I'm going to have my people start this company. We're going to control our whole thing. So, you know, we don't have to wait on anyone. if you control your whole infrastructure. And that's my belief. And Grex Publishing, thank you guys. Thank you very much. No, and guys, any of you guys out there, I know you have kids, nephews, grandkids, go to Emma's Fabulous Adventures. We wrote a book, Sophia and I, and Grant is our other partner, about my dog. I don't know if you guys, he told you, I am the only African American in the country with a private jet service. So, and I'm going to be in Forbes magazine in August. So I decided to take Emma everywhere because she can go with me everywhere I go. So this book is about Emma's European adventures and culture, all the making friends, all the things like all of those things. And it's a workbook for kids. This book is published in 5 languages and Braille, and it has a QR code so kids can go click on it, and it tells you a little bit of history about the cities that Emma's been in, and for kids on the autistic spectrum, texture pages. So it's a great book. It's in the process. It should be out when, Grant?
I think we're looking towards mid to end August.
Right. So, guys, I'm a strong believer in if you believe in yourself and you want to do it, do it.
I think one of the things that I loved about that collaboration and the getting the book organised was the first thing you did was just go out and sell it. So,
that right there, Grant. You know what? That right there blows my mind because we have pre-sold this book. I think we're at almost 22,000. 22,000.
Yeah, 20,000 copies pre-sold. Yeah.
20,000 copies.
Yeah.
Yeah, pre-sold, and I'm thinking, the New York City school system, the New Jersey school system, and all of our illustrious friends. I always tell my friends, if you don't buy our book, you're not my friend. Is my friendship worth it? $24.99. So yeah, and we're still selling. And I told Sophia, my goal every day is to sell 10 books, right?
Well, everybody in the room,
He's going to buy a book.
you've got to buy the book.
They're looking at me like, this guy, is he on drugs? Is he crazy? I know they're thinking like, he's all over the place. Guys, I'm not ADHD or any of that. My mind just thinks quicker than others. I know what I want. I thank God that I have you and Sophia because you guys keep up with me. Sometimes I can't even keep up with myself. And Sophia's like, come on, take it down. But yes, the book is going to be an amazing book. We are publishing it worldwide. So guys, check it out. EmmasFabulousAdventures.com.
Yeah, love it.
Right?
Love it. You got it right. You got it right. We're all good.
Yeah.
Great website, guys.
Yes, and great website. And then my partner, she has a talk show, guys. AskSophia.com. Saturdays, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. What is it? You're on BST, right? 9:30 BST time.
Yeah.
And it's a great talk show forum about everything entrepreneur. And then we're launching a new show. Every Thursday night. Yep. Greg and Sophia, the Greg and Sophia vibe about entrepreneurship, whatever. 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, when do we sleep, you ask? You'll sleep when you're dead.
Sleep is not something that you pay a lot of attention to, is it?
No.
Awesome.
No.
Greg, it's been an absolute pleasure, but I really, really appreciate you taking the time, mate.
Thank you.
And
you guys.
yeah,
I love you guys. Man.
Brilliant.
And I'll talk to you guys soon, okay?
Take care, mate. Bye-bye. Okay, round of applause. We got there at the end, didn't we? We got there at the end. Fantastic. Well, I think it was worth the wait. That guy is an absolute legend. Oh, did his phone back? Sorry about that.
Thank you.
As you can see, the guy is a maniac. He's into so many different projects, and the project that we've been working on with the book that Sophia's written is a fabulous book. EmmasFabulousAdventures.com. So anybody who wants to check that out, it's a kid's book, as Greg was saying. And Greg's it's been one of his dreams to publish a book about his dog, Emma. And so we collaborated, put it all together, and here we are. And it's been Awesome working with him, absolutely awesome, and a real experience. And just going back to finish off, guys, one of the things that David talked about is about spending time with like-minded people. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And a lot of the people that have been on this stage and with Greg, these are the people I spend time with, and I hope you'll agree, you know, they're the kind of people that elevate your mind. Look for other entrepreneurs, guys, as entrepreneurs, spend time with them, get rid of the negativity, stay with that positivity, and build a successful business. Thanks very much, guys.